Well, you're welcome to Natural 6.
Hey!
Hello, everyone. It's here. It's finally here. Episode 14 has arrived of our latest adventure in Reliquiae. But who am I? I'm just some guy with an iron constitution. What am I?
What a vibe.
What am I other than a dream weaver with a strong stomach? I'm nothing without heroes, so let's say hi to ours.
Hello, I'm Aoife Wilson, and I'm playing Dolly de Winter, the Tiefling Bard.
Hello, I'm Alex Jordan, and I'm playing the Kobold Rogue.
Hello, I'm Doug Cockle, and I'm playing Kelmis, the Dragonborn Druid.
Hi, I'm Hollie, and I'm playing, name TBC, the Human Fighter.
Hello, I'm Ben Starr, and I play Radiant Thornbear, the Wood Elf Wizard.
God, he's good. And I'm Harry McEntire. I'm the Dungeon Master. I do the rest of everything, and frankly...
If you couldn't tell from context clues, isn't feeling very well today.
I had to stop the car to be sick on the way here. Let's play some... Shall we play some Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah!
Last time. And what a last time it was. You began the night before... Stop it.
And now all of this is staying in.
Yeah.
Reset!
You began the night before the battle for Mouse, Dolly having revealed her mission from the spinner, and the party agreeing to turn from the web and refuse to hand over the supplies to the Gloam. You did, however, decide that delivering the bag as promised could give you an element of surprise. You soon set to planning your attack. Dolly, Radian, and I, the character not the me, would deliver the bag to the Gloam, Dolly and Radian claiming that they had left the rest of the party behind whilst I waited in the trees. When Radian sent a firebolt into the sky, Endelian, Kelnis, and the Grenweird brothers would attack from the castle, trapping your enemies in a pincer. I was keen to use the bag of holding to transport Kylen, Endelian's biggest and strongest brother, into the brewery beyond the walls, and thus into the thick of the action. Along with Dolly, he went to try and convince the barbarian to go along with the ruse, but despite Eden's permission, Kylen refused to leave his brother's side. Meanwhile, Radian sought out Lesota, Endelian's mother, finding her on one of the towers overlooking what would come morning be a battlefield. He asked her about family and about love, before Lesota offered him words of comfort, words of acceptance, and a very awkward hug. Kelnis was preparing for the morning and, along with Wilder the cook, searched for good berries in the well-stocked pantry beneath the kitchens. As he did, Endelian, or Elowen, took a moment to herself in her father's observatory, far above the rest of the hubbub, as Castle Grenweird prepared for battle. Below in the courtyard, Dolly bolstered her companions with a speech, but I, the character not the me, was still unsure that the plan in its current state would work. Together you formed a new strategy: construct an explosive device that could be detonated in the brewery to help level the playing field and catch the Gloam unawares. Endelian had returned to the courtyard by now, and having teased Eden from the sidelines as he trained up militia, sparred with her eldest brother, learning that her weapons were capable of greater utility than she had previously realized. That night, you all returned to Endelian's room, where Radian pitched his new nickname to Endelian, Pebble. The fact Endelian neither attacked him nor stormed out of the room spoke volumes for the growth of their relationship. Kylen woke you the next morning, and you put your plan into action. Dolly and Radian entered the brewery to speak with the Gloam, whilst I watched from the trees. Inside the brewery, the Gloam had begun to grow suspicious and made an attempt to seize the Tiefling and the Wood Elf, Dolly casting darkness to cover their escape as Radian slammed the homemade bomb into position by the door. As Radian and Dolly sprinted towards safety, I wish it was me, but it was still the character, emerged from hiding and lit the place up, as the gates opened and Kelnis and the Grenweirds stormed into battle. Kellen sniped from a distance whilst Eden and Kylen charged straight into the throng as I picked off Gloam warriors with his crossbow. Dolly cast Shatter, and Delian filed arrows into her foes. Toran attacked with unexpected ferocity. Radian killed multiple enemies with a devastating fireball, and Kelnis was behind a hinge. Just as you seemed to be in the ascendancy, Eden fell. His siblings and militia stunned into inaction by his death before Dolly brought him back with a healing word. As the battle continued to rage, I entered the smouldering brewery where he was met by an unexpected foe, Morgan. He struck I with a blinding smite, almost downing the kobold, as Radian began to hear the familiar whispers of the deck in his pocket before they coalesced into a single word, help. I was calling out, blinded and cornered, hoping for the aid of his friends in bringing down his foe, but Morgan, the Oathbreaker Paladin, summoned new reserves of fervour from his fellow Gloam members as they all attacked with sudden speed. Finally, Radian arrived to end his kobold companion, a clutch use of hypnotic gaze finally paying dividends as Morgan was rendered incapacitated. Kelnis and Toran had formed a rearguard and were dealing with the Gloam that attacked in waves as Endelian fought alongside Eden and Kylen. I had managed to flee the brewery, with Dolly unable to act as Radian remained inside with Morgan. The Wood Elf was stunned to realise that merely by wishing it could be so, he had teleported from the building, still retaining enough power to cast Fireball. As you mopped up the remains of the Gloam warriors, you descended en masse upon Morgan, who had left the brewery and was moving into the main body of the fight with a resigned heaviness. Kelnis struck your old travelling companion with lightning as a terrified Dolly stabbed Morgan with a dagger. He, in turn, struck her down with what surely would have been a killing blow, before Radian called, for the first time, on the deck of Many Friends. As the card began to spin and glow, a figure emerged, Ravenna Snacks. Her hair a flock of ravens that descended on Morgan, causing him to miss his previous swing at Dolly, though she still dropped unconscious after he attacked again. Radian revived Dolly with a Goodberry, or Kelberry as he would have it, before it fell to Endelian to land the final blow on Morgan, who, tear-stained and blood-soaked, thanked her as he breathed his last. Ravenna became a flock of ravens and was absorbed by the card, which then turned to dust. And then a figure appeared in the sky. Barabask. He accused the party of killing the virtuous and betraying the Antiqua, naming them god-killers and declaring that they were in league with the Gloam. He then proclaimed himself the new god of Reliquiae, Barabask the Sinless. And that's where we are now. You stand in the snow, the frozen ground hard beneath your feet, surrounded by bodies. Steam rising from black blood in the crisp winter morning. The image of Barabask fades, the clouds darkening. You can hear the calls of far-off birds, the wind in the trees, the ragged breathing of those beside you still suffused with the exhilaration and terror of battle. And then Kylen swings his axe towards the sky where Barabask had appeared and shouts, "Fuck you! Fuck you! You will not harm my sister! You will not take her from us!" Everyone roll perception checks. What do we get, Radiant?
Natural 20.
Natural 20, Endelian.
Not a good 14.
27.
27 from Cal.
Natural 20.
Natural 20 from I.
16.
16 from Dolly. I and Radiant, you can have advantage on your next roll. Because what all of you see, other than Endelian, who's still staring up at this faded, this kind of fading cloud where Barabask once was, you hear footsteps in the snow, and Toran is running back towards the castle. And you can hear him with nat 20s and a 24. You hear him sobbing, immediately having burst into uncontrollable tears. Eden turns to you, Endelian Elowen, and says, "Well, that's a lot to hear."
Yeah, it is. It's a long story. We didn't kill any gods.
I know.
Yeah, it's part of this. It's all of this now. Everything happened on Mount Adria. everything started at Ametria.
Then Kylen, who lowers his axe, looks at you, and he looks almost as frightened as he did in the battle with Morgan when he was stood there shaking. He looks at you, and for a second, it's like the young Kylen is back. And he says, "She actually dead, then?"
Yeah, she's actually dead.
Eden nods, says, "Right, well, we better go after him, then." And the Grenweird brothers turn and head after Toran back into the castle. And you are alone on the battlefield, surrounded by these bodies.
I was on the ground when that happened. I'm gonna get up and sort of dust myself off. Can I investigate Morgan's body?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. Roll me an investigation check.
It's not great. That is a oops. That is a
Can I help you?
yeah.
Not after the roll, I'm
Oh,
afraid.
okay, not after the roll. Investigation. It's just a 14.
Okay. At 14, you find, he has his pack, he has supplies. He has his sword, which he struck you with. And then on a leather, length of leather around his neck is a piece of black stone, or it could be bone, that's been carved into the shape of a skull with an opening like a pipe at one end.
Can I put it
Absolutely.
in my jacket pocket? And I think once I'm sort of searching it and stuff, I think Dolly had a real sense that was a close call. That was a real close call for her. Heart is still beating quite fast and is just a bit shaken, and is kind of while hands are patting him down, touches where his shadow falls on the ground, and there's a, and she's puts her hand down again, and as you watch, her body starts to change, and up her arms, and she fully takes on Morgan's visage. All of a sudden, it's Mantle of Whispers, which is a new thing that I can do. And it's a reaction when a humanoid dies within 30 feet of me. I can capture its shadow until I use it or until I finish a long rest. As an action, I can use the shadow to disguise myself as that person for 1 hour. And while disguised, I can actually gain some of their information. Not any secrets or anything, but
Great.
what they might share with a casual acquaintance or something like that. So I have access to maybe his most recent memories and stuff.
Okay.
Can I search?
Absolutely. You search through his most recent memories, and you sense, although it's hard to put words to it, you sense an internal battle happening within Morgan in those last hours of his life, as if he was compelled and as if he was trying to fight against that compulsion.
You're all seeing this, by the way. I'm just suddenly turned into Morgan.
Calmus just goes,
freaked out. Yeah.
Right.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
Oh, I'll tell you what I should say then. In that case, something that you absolutely would have found that I missed with the 14 is you find a sending stone.
Okay. Interesting. Is there any? Do I have to call it to find out where the other end of it goes?
I will say you can roll a very high Arcana check.
Okay.
So this is a DC 20 Arcana.
9.
9. It's like trying to pick up a phone and see who was last on it. There's just kind of nothing there.
All right.
What did you do with Dolly?
What are you talking about?
What did you do with Dolly?
What? It's me.
That's you. So wait, you just turned into him?
God, I
gonna-
hate magic.
I'm gonna shake it and it's gone.
Jesus Christ.
It kind of comes off you as it's kind of falling from Dolly, it comes off in black flecks like oil.
What just happened?
You just turned
You
into...
turned into Morgan.
I touched him and I saw almost like through his eyes. Like for the last couple of hours, he wasn't himself, not completely.
I want to crouch down next to his body and smell the blood. I want to smell if it just smells like blood,
Yeah.
or if it's
Yeah. Roll me a perception check.
12.
It smells like blood. The fact it's black doesn't have anything immediately apparent to you.
Okay. What did you feel?
Conflict. I don't think he wanted to fight us. Not really. I don't think.
And I gestures to the still sort of like wet cheeks where he was crying.
It was like he was being made to do what he did. I think he was actually kind of glad that you ended it for him.
Walking away from the web isn't easy.
No, it was a gratefulness that was beyond that. I don't know.
He's found some peace at the very least.
The Morgan that we knew back on Mount Atria, back at the festival, I think he was a good person. I think he wanted to be.
I think we all want to be.
Always a work in progress.
It is sad. He was a great man. He had many trees left to climb.
I hope he is climbing many on the other side.
He'll be a lot freer on the other side than he was here.
A lot freer than, well, he won't be looking over his shoulder as much as we will now.
Hughes is in big trouble.
I'd say we're all in big trouble after the little in the sky performance.
Yeah.
There is many kobold, many eyes.
Just gonna give you a little playful push to be like, no, I think you're in it with us.
How does someone like that become a god?
I'd wager someone like that was willing to give everything.
We can add Jasmine to the list of people we've inadvertently gotten killed. She was
Jasmine hadn't
good.
let us go, a lot more people would already be dead.
That's one way to look at it.
What do we do now?
Regroup, replan. We need more information. We're on the run now.
We knows where there is more information.
We have an idea of where there's more information,
A
whether or
Parvis.
not Parvis will share that information.
Harvest.
A Parvis has information. A Parvis. We needs to find them.
Can we trust the Antigua after this?
Well, there was only one god missing.
That's true.
It was quite clear that the Antigua didn't trust each other.
No, that's very true.
A Gronoth did not trust. A Gronoth did not trust a Barabask.
No. No, he had his number pretty early on, I'd say.
And we trusts a Gronoth.
I'd say so far, Gronoth hasn't led us wrong.
Gronoth also, yeah. He's not around to help us now, though. We're kind of off the map as far as that's concerned.
We can't stay here too long.
But a Gronoth also tells us where to find a Parvis.
Should we get off this battlefield? I'm feeling kind of icky. Like, I just took on a dead guy's visage.
Yeah, you know what? Being out here, it's not a good feeling.
No.
No, and I'm hungry.
Let's get you something to eat.
Before I go in, there's all these dead, gloomy people.
Not gonna eat them.
No. What do you think I am? Animal? I would like to investigate the bodies
Absolutely.
and look for anything useful.
Absolutely. Would anyone else like to do that?
Yeah, there's one body I want to look for.
Okay.
Just a question. I mean, obviously, this is going to get back to the web anyway. But how quickly do we want it to get back to the web? As far as they know, this exchange might have happened. But, well, I found a sending stone on Morgan. And if he had to report back that this exchange was successful. It's possible. You saw the little trick I just pulled. It's possible we could say that it went well and buy ourselves some more time.
But Barabask has already put a price on our heads.
True, but if we can have at least one more ally for the time being.
It's a good thought. We does not know if this in the sky was what happens anyway, or has happens because. We just don't know, so we may as well try.
I don't know. It's risky either way.
They're going to find out sooner or later that we've won here.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we make it seem like a failure? That everything's going wrong, but misdirect them in the wrong direction. But send them one way, make them not think we go the other.
Who's to say we were here?
Well, they already know we were here.
It's pretty clear that we were here.
But they don't know this would necessarily have been us helping them. They know you guys are no longer aligned with the web because I told them the party had been split. But I can buy you and I more time.
I would
That's
remind
about
you that the people who you told the party had split are all dead now.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yes, you have not replied.
Oh no, did you reply actually and say, I bring the elf?
I did,
In
yeah.
the sending stone, I do apologise. In that case, there is at least a possibility that the web believe there's been a schism.
Mm-hmm. How valuable we think that is.
It's whatever causes my family less trouble.
We should protect this place.
That's what this whole thing has been about. And I don't see any point in doing anything halfway. We're in it now. May as well do it properly.
We need to be honest and tell them everything.
May as well. There's no point in hiding it now.
We've placed them in great danger, Elowin.
They can also be great allies.
They were in great danger anyway. The web, the gloam, were right at the doors.
I nearly had them all killed. I don't know how well they'll take that.
But you didn't.
No, but it was pretty close.
Deeds, not words. Protected the family in the end, and that's what they'll always remember.
What if in order to protect the family from here, we has to make the family pretend they has abandoned you?
You can try. The family's close. Even that sounds a bit like a far-fetched tale.
From what I've learned of the Gremweirds, you can't make them do anything. I think we give them the information, let them decide their fate.
Eden's in charge. Either way, we run the risk of what we tell them. The plan failed, the gloam failed. They send reinforcements, they try again. Or, hopefully, they decide it's just not worth it. How many people do you want to throw at the walls of Mouse before you decide you actually don't even need it anyway?
Our multiple interactions with the gloam has suggested that they're just going to keep coming. Maybe, I don't know. But some time is better than none at all.
I'd rather have some time than none at all. And either way, we're going to need to rest up before we head anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can put it to the family, but I only get one shot to send this message, so let's make sure we know what we want to say, if we want to say anything at all.
And you can turn back again.
If I touch him again, yeah. I might have to have a little bit of a rest first, but...
I'm going to say that was flavor, really. The first time of you doing it was exploring a power and discovering you could use it. I think the first time you intentionally use it is...
Well, I've absorbed it now, so I should be able to do it again.
Great.
For a little while.
And I think we needs to speak to the family.
Fine, I'll join you in there. I need to look for someone first.
So, Calnus, you wanted to check.
Yeah, all of the bodies, including the bodies that are left upstairs in the fireballed
Oh, you want to go into the brewery?
space.
Okay, so if you share that plan with other people, then someone can kind of check some bodies outside. Someone can go into the brewery. We can have 3 separate, however many separate roles for that.
I'm looking at the bodies. Does anybody want to?
I will go to the brewery because that's
The feeling of like going back to where Morgan came out and attacked me and feeling like I just want to go back in and kind of face that moment of fear head on.
Yeah. So, Calnus, where are you going then?
Well, if I is going to into the brewery space,
Yeah.
and I'll check on the two bodies of the woman and the guy that came out after Dolly and Radian,
The casters.
and then I'll just go around the battlefield and just
Okay.
check on all the bodies.
I'll let you roll once with advantage, assuming someone rather than individual checks for 21 different bodies. Let's say roll with advantage, roll an investigation check with advantage, and then we'll handle eyes.
So nat 20.
It's a nat 20. Okay. So what you find on these bodies are many of these stone, bone. You identify pretty quickly that they are a type of carved black stone, that they almost look like musical instruments, like very, very small pipes or whistles, carved with skulls that look to be humanoid, in the shape of humanoid skulls, and a mouthpiece. You also find, obviously, you can now use any of the amount of cloaks and masks and gloves of these glowing bodies. And on a couple of them you find, as much as all of their outfits, if you like, their attire beneath the cloaks are individual and almost random, you get a sense that these are people who come from all different walks of life, but who are trying to be a coherent force. But you do find the odd token, the odd portrait of a loved one, or a lock of hair that's been kept close to their heart. But you don't find anything.
No potions
Seismic.
of healing. Or...
No potions, no.
I think that what I'll do is gather all of these stones
Yeah,
and just take them all.
yeah,
And take all the cloaks and masks as well.
great.
Thinking that possibly I'll talk with these guys about sharing these out with
Yeah.
the Grenweirds.
So there were 18 members of the Gloam,
18.
and then Morgan. So in theory, you can have 19 masks. I mean, one or two of the masks where I think people were hit in the face with fire probably wouldn't be that serviceable. So I'd say you got 15 sets of masks and gloves and cloaks.
I sees Calnis gathering all these up and goes,
Does you need the bag of Does someone has the bag?
Somebody bring me the bag. Somebody bring me the bag of
And you head up, and do you want to explore the entirety of the brewery? You can roll with advantage because of your nat 20 on that perception check.
yeah, I think I want to go up and I want to mainly face, because that's a moment I kind of walked in, saw someone who I was friends with in my mind, and then went blind attack. So I kind of want to go face that head on, but then I want to go upstairs to see what was up in Morgan, where he was.
Great. So roll with advantage.
Okay, cool. Thank goodness for the advantage, because that was a 16 and a nat 1.
Okay. So with a 16, in the brewery you find nothing of great import. You recall from your time when you interacted with the Gloam back in the forest that a lot of these are sort of verbal messengers. There's not a lot of paper trail that's left.
I would not be able to read it.
Yeah, so you don't sense anything that's like a ledger or a series of... But then you go upstairs into a space where you haven't been before, which had your little Assassin's Creed jumpy down spot. And there is a single bedroll laid out on the floor and possessions that you just recall being Morgan's. And you see among those a letter.
I'd like to gather it. I have potion of comprehend languages, but I don't know if that's what it is, do I? So I'm just going to gather out the letter. And then I'm going to head over to the little Assassin's Creed viewpoint.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to briefly think about all the cool things I could have done for
Would have been.
What are you doing up there?
And then I want to go.
You look really cool.
Aye,
It's
you
the
look great.
perfect spot. Like his cloak and his hood are kind of flapping ever so slightly
and
in the
his
breeze.
crossbow
And then,
is out.
and then I want to go.
Watch this.
And I grabs the rope, puts it over the little wooden
The little
bit
wooden
sticking
strap,
out,
yeah.
a little tight, and then just drops down on the rope to the
Great.
ground.
Roll me an acrobatics check with advantage. It's hella cool.
You invented abseiling.
You essentially you get heroic inspiration for this. You can roll it with advantage.
Amazing. That is a 27.
Well, why would I describe it? You go ahead.
So I actually doesn't need to tie it at the top. I pulls out the rope and just whips, and it just kind of loops around and catches as
Yeah.
he taut.
Yeah.
But that taut moment isn't even a test and a pull. It's all one motion as he just steps backwards. So boom, and the weight of him dropping down. And then as he descends, his cape, just the perfect degree of sort of like wind coming into the side, just kind of whips over, and he kind of lands with a little spin down to kind of his knees, and it does that Batman thing where it just kind of like on
Absolutely
the floor.
it does. How could it
and
not?
then as he
You literally
and then as he stands, it also does that Batman thing where it kind of raises in, but
Yeah.
because he's short, it just goes.
Kelvis
Yeah.
looks over and just goes, "Show off."
And then I turns around and goes, pulls out the letter and goes,
And I found something that I think is a Morgan's.
Who's closest to him at this point?
Any of you who want to be really at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. I'll take it.
Oh, you take it.
Yeah.
I take it back and gives it.
And it's a letter that says, I'm sorry it took me so long. I never stopped trying to find you. And I'm so glad to know you're alive. And that it's signed, Mother.
Yeah, I guess I would read that out loud for everybody. And I suppose I'd just be happy that there was some sort of something nice, like some
Closure.
reassuring thing, some closure that maybe he might have felt.
I think he had a rough life. I think bad things happened to him.
You recall him saying that he was raised by his grandparents. Never mentioned parents before.
God, I really hope he finds the peace he deserves. Because he wasn't going to get it in this life.
No.
Now, in Delian, you said you wanted to look for something specific.
Yeah, I want to look for a person, but not a member of the Gloam. When the Gloam first attacked, Indelian's brothers said that someone held the Gloam off so that they could get inside the castle. And I want to try and look for that body, because I'm assuming it's a body at this point.
Yeah, and are you looking for it on the battlefield, or are you kind of going deeper into the town to look?
I'm going to go deeper into the town, because that's kind of where they were when they were first attacked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sort of going to head down the road a little bit, because we're right at the brewery, so I guess heading more in towards the school.
Right. Yeah. And the farms and the houses that your brothers would have been going sort of
Which
door
were on
to
fire,
door.
yes,
Which were on fire.
exactly.
I won't even make you roll for this. At a crossroads, you see a body frozen solid slumped against the school, and you can see that around it, roll me an investigation check on that.
That is 7.
That's a 7.
Can I just say, I've seen Endelian walking off purposefully, and I'm following at a discreet distance, not just
Yeah.
because I don't think anybody should be walking around alone. We don't know if anybody else is lurking.
Okay. This is Mina's body. And she looks like she took a few with her.
I suppose I'd like that. Like, if you're going to go down, it's in a blaze of glory and it's taking as many of those assholes with you as possible. So I would go up to the body. I think I just, hand on the shoulder, just give her a smile and just say, thank you for always protecting us. I'll have them come and get you. And then just walk back away.
And you see Calnis.
I'm just observing. I give her a
Mina. She was the master of arms for the Castle Grenweed. She taught most of us how to fight. She stayed behind so that my brothers could get back in the castle with whoever they could save when the Gloam first attacked. I wanted to see where her body was.
We will make sure she gets back.
She will. She will. Right, with that, I want to be back inside the castle myself as well.
Let's go.
Anything else anyone wants to do on the battlefield before we head back? No. Okay. And the gates are ajar, and you go into the courtyard. And it's a strange atmosphere in the courtyard. You can hear, like, as you walk back in, you hear these kind of cheers, and you look up, and the archers that were set on the walls are cheering you, because as far as they're concerned, this is like a bloodless slaughter. This is the most extraordinary victory. And you can hear cheers from inside the castle as the families have no more dead to count, haven't lost anybody. And you're met at the threshold by Lesota, your mother, and Isolde, your sister-in-law. And they have the same energy. You suddenly see what it is that made her such a good match for your brother. That Isolde clearly is very emotional, but is absolutely containing it. And your mother looks at you, and in the quietest voice you've ever heard from her, she says, "We watched from the towers."
Yeah, just something to make Darwin jealous.
And then she just grabs you and hugs you and holds you for a really long time. Right, well, you must be hungry.
Not me. Calnus is, though.
My stomach rumbles.
The faintest smile from Lesota as she suddenly has a useful thing to do in all this. Right, well, yourselves clean and dry, and we'll see what we can find for you.
A wash, yes, please. It's so gross out there. Ugh.
So, in your chambers, if you're heading up to Endelian's rooms, or wherever you like, but in the bedrooms there would have been sort of separate areas for washing, a stove, a fire to heat water and pour into these kind of great metal baths. And you can pull curtains across and have some space. You can have some seclusion. The other bedrooms are all, other than your parents, are all occupied by refugees, for want of a better word. So those are occupied. But you can make your way back to Endelian's rooms and start to decompress.
I want to have a word with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
What happened earlier on the battlefield when you were nearly struck down? And
Yeah.
that happened. And he pulls out the bag, a deck of many friends. Clearly this is a powerful magical item. And I would be scared to use it alone. We're in this together now. Clearly there's some good to be found in this, and there is probably some bad. But I think it is too much power for me to wield alone.
You think the rest of us can?
I don't know.
We need all the help we can get.
Certainly did come in clutch when we needed it most, but
Yeah.
I has never seen birds appear like that, and I would not say no to it again.
it just felt like we got lucky, though. What if those birds... What if it had been us?
You know me. I'm impulsive and probably can't be trusted. So it would make me feel better if I wasn't the only one making the choices.
Share the burden.
We're in it together from here on out.
Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Tribe.
we don't know what's going to happen the next time we pull a card out of that. We just better know what the stakes are and know that when we do it, we're all ready to face whatever comes out of it.
When I looked at the cards, when we were camped, they were all different.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that we don't get too much of a different outcome, because that was very helpful this time.
That's what worries me.
How much worse could our stakes possibly be?
Oh, don't say that.
Let's tip the scales, Let's see what happens.
I grabs hold of Calmus and goes,
He was not tipping any scales.
Like cow tipping.
Metaphor.
And not those scales. Different scales.
Understand.
Not those steaks either.
I think so.
I like mine medium well, by the way.
I'll let my mum know.
So you spend some time in Delian's rooms and you
To
bathe.
sleep over?
And you bathe and you dress yourselves. And Jeremy Teaberry finds you all comfortable attire while your clothes are washed and dried. He goes into... every parent, I think, keeps some of their children's clothes. You have a choice of a little suit of sort of leather tabard with the symbol of the Crenweird house on it, or there is a really gorgeous dress.
I turns to Endelian with no true understanding of what human clothes would be and says,
Which one's is right?
You pick whichever one you think you look best in.
is there a mirror or anything
There is a
in this
mirror,
space?
yeah,
that I can
absolutely.
use?
There's a mirror in Endelian's rooms, yeah.
I tries them both on and decides to wear the leather over the top of the dress.
Are you hidden like behind one of those
Folding
Like
screens.
those folding screens.
could we all be waiting sitting?
Yes.
Sitting on the bunk
Yes.
head at the foot of the bed.
Yeah. And I comes
You
out.
can come out now, I.
Roll me a performance check.
Can I help?
Yeah, you can.
I'm gonna, like, lay
you can do
something down for the
like Dolly gives you like a little bit of musical backing.
Okay.
Little tap on the way out.
little
Go on.
Thank goodness she did, because that went from a 6 to a 16.
16. So you come out.
And I come out
Who's that
and
Beautiful girl. She'd be any cuter.
and I just liking the film, just kind of gives the little swish.
Aw.
And he looks fantastic.
Kel giggles at me and he says, You look like the daughter I've never had.
Wait. I've got just the touch. And I cast Minor Illusion, and I
A little tiara.
He really is a people's princess.
Oh, the me and the character just blush. Yeah.
Can you do that? You're cold-blooded.
It's a blood
Flavour.
you've
I'm
never seen
minor
it
illusion.
before.
I'm minor illusion of blush on myself.
And after a couple of hours, Jeremy Teaberry knocks on the door. Says, supper with your brothers and your mother and your sister-in-law. That is it, though. I know I said all those separately, but made it sound like there were more people in there.
Yeah, no, we're on our way. Feeling a hell of a lot fresher. But I guess we've got some explaining to do.
Before we go down, I just want to say I'm sorry. To you specifically, but to everyone for keeping that from you. I don't trust very easily. I don't have the best track record when it comes to teammates. So thanks for not turning on me, I guess.
I won't judge when it comes to trust. But you did the right thing in the end. You helped protect my family. And that's all that matters to me.
I'll have to do a lot more to cross out a lot of things that I've done, but it felt like a good first step.
think there's going to be a lot more opportunities coming our way to make peace and make good with what we've done.
God killer's on 5.
I does go straight in, 100%.
God killers.
God Killers, it's a cool name.
Who does the counts?
Well, you can't.
No.
We'll do it in. I'll go and then you go.
Okay.
Are we going reverse?
Which way is reverse?
5.
4.
4.
3.
2.
This is a great.
We'll get better at it. We'll get better at it. Teamwork. Teamwork.
Yeah. We'll come back up after dinner and we'll
workshop
figure that
it.
out. Yeah,
we'll tell them it
workshop
went flawlessly.
And you make your way into what would have been your family dining room. It's where you would have had most of your meals. And
Look, I'm posh, all right, guys? Just thinking like,
it's a private dining room for you, and there's a long table, Lesotho at one end, Eden at the other, with Isolde by his side. Your brothers are sat around the table, and there are spaces for the 5 of you. And
A question.
Absolutely.
Is I still wearing the beautiful dress?
absolutely,
Fantastic.
What colour is the dress?
What colour is the dress?
White.
Oh, he really is the people's princess.
White. As the driven snow.
Great. As we go to sit at the table, I would like to pull out a chair for the lady.
A high chair.
a high
I was about to
chair.
say, I looks at it and says, "Can we get a more than one, or a high chair, or
Who said there was one here somewhere?
There is absolutely one that they go into like these sort of great floor-to-ceiling cupboards on this 10-foot ceiling.
As they go to it, I go,
no. It's fine. I will find it. You sit.
Okay, roll me an investigation check in the cupboards.
Please.
This bodes
you
well.
know what? I will take that. I can't believe I missed that.
For those listening, Alex missed his dice too.
It's the rough one. The dress is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the dress got in the way, but it's an 18.
It's an 18. You find a high chair, but you also find a family portrait album.
Oh, Jesus.
Of portraits that have been painted of the Grenweirds through their lives as babies, family portraits, individual portraits, little sketches that have been done of them, letters that they've written, stories that they've written. It's essentially, you don't know what you're looking at with the words, but you know what you're looking at with the pictures, and you immediately identify that there is a particularly bonny baby, a baby girl in the most something that makes the dress that you are currently wearing look like a sharp suit in terms of the frills and the ornamentation and the unnecessary fretwork of it. And she is, even in the portrait that would have been painted over a long period of time, she seems to be screaming and trying to pull the dress kind of like loosen it at the neck. And there are 6 younger, sort of young boys, 5 young boys, I do apologise, sort of sat round her.
Okay. I takes this and plonks it on top of the high chair, drags the high chair out, and then literally then gets behind it and just
Whole
does pushing the
Catholic
whole way
Men in
across.
black. Like,
Yeah.
Just all the way across.
So-
Roll a
Silence.
d6, and that's how many minutes it takes.
Everyone just watching.
So as if everyone's sat around the table, you just see this, kind of like this. You just see this high chair come across. For anyone not able to see who's listening on the podcast, I'm now using the dice tower.
Wow.
To demonstrate.
Someone's done mocap.
And it arrives. It arrives, and then you just hear the sound of I climbing, but struggling because the dress is making it a little bit trickier.
And also the high chair has one of those dividers in the centre, so you have to sort of hitch the dress up and sort of sit on much of the dress.
So I'm struggling and I'm trying, and I finally sits in and puts this thing down, opens it up, and points at the picture with a young Indelian struggling out the dress and just goes,
I understand.
And while he's doing that, I'm also going to lean down and be like, dresses, right? Take it from someone who's worn a lot. Beautiful to look at, not very practical for what you do on a daily basis.
It's beautiful to look at.
Sure.
What are you looking at?
Radiant goes over.
And immediately your brothers start laughing.
No, I'm now trying to intercept the book. I'm trying to stop the
Roll
book
me
being
a
passed
sli-
around the damn
roll
table.
contested athletics or acrobatics checks. So you can pick athletics or acrobatics in Delian versus Radiant.
And I'm going as a remarkable athlete. I get
Wizard
to
versus
roll again. No, that for me is only a 11.
Mine's a 7, so
Oh wow! So you prep. The last time you kind of fought anyone or fought with anyone in this room, they were very strong, and you prep yourself for like a feat of endurance, and it's perhaps the weakest grip you've ever felt anyone have on anything. And you easily pull the book from your friend's hands.
Why do you not want me to see that in Delian?
Because it's not fun.
What should I say? Hello, Win.
Give me the book,
What is
Radiant.
it?
Give me the book.
Just embarrassing about it. Come on.
Give me the book, Radiant.
Elmis, I, and Dolly roll perception checks as these two are fighting. Dolly?
7.
7.
9.
9.
18.
18. Thank God. Something happens. I and Dolly, you're just too kind of taken in by this, and you're just aware of the whole room sort of bursting into laughter and finding this very amusing. And Kel, you look a little deeper, and you see that there are bowls of stew that have been laid out and bread rolls. It's humble fare. It's not a time for opulence. And
I've already grabbed a bread roll and I've been munching it. And as I watch these two getting at each other, I take another bread roll and I chuck it at Radiant's head.
And you throw it at Radiant's head, and as it sort of whizzes past as they're tussling, and you see it comes to rest in front of Torian, and Torian is not looked up. Torian is still eating, not smiling, at the far end of the table from you.
How far away is...
So he's sort of 4 seats from you. He is kind of at one end and you are at the other. I'm guessing from this, Radiant and Delian have kind of taken seats in the middle-ish. Calnus is at one end, and for the sake of it, in that case, we'll put I and Dolly at the other end. So you're all sort of along one side.
Mm. Mm. I think I'm not... I clock this.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I'd like to do is if I can give Endelian a little nudge and draw her attention to Torian.
So I'd see this and I'd lean over to Cal and just... Torian really followed religion. He was a big believer in Ignis. The rest of us, I guess, some of us, like me, take it or leave it, but Torian really believed. The news from Atria, the news that I was involved, that's not going to be good for him. It's going to be hard for him.
Perhaps we should talk with I about this. Heads up.
Okay. You're sat... But I'm shouting across the table.
Yeah.
What?
Hello?
I think before we probably involve everybody in it, we should probably have a wider conversation.
Yeah, perhaps now is not the time, as I take it.
Another spoon.
Now is not the time.
Yeah, maybe we should eat first.
So you set to eating, and there's small talk. Endelian, roll insight with advantage.
15.
15. Kellen in particular is trying so hard to make small talk. You can tell he wants... They've clearly been told by your mum that everyone needs to have a chance to eat, and then we can talk about proper things afterwards. And you remember this sort of formality and the kind of timetabling of serious conversations, that they could only happen on a full stomach and they mustn't happen while anyone had their mouth full. And you can sense Kellen as he's going, so have you had any pets? That he hasn't, he really has got nothing. It's just almost kind of wanting to bubble out of him this entire time. And once the scraping of spoons in bowls has started to subside and people are eating the last few there's a sort of winter berry sponge that's been made, sort of hearty, with a kind of thick, sweet custard. And once those things have been... Never seen Doug so excited at a table. Once those kind of dishes have been pushed into the centre and people are sort of picking, that feeling of a Christmas dinner table when everyone knows really they've finished, but it's in front of them, so they're still sort of going a little bit. Your mother says... Right then, so, how much of what the new god in the sky said is true, then?
Part of it is true. We certainly didn't kill the gods. They were already gone when we got there. The web is something that I'm a part of. It's something that we were all a part of. They sent us to accompany the Antiqua to the Deference. We were to take them to the top of Mount Atria. But it was clear as we climbed the mountain that things were really, really wrong. And when we got to the palace, there were a lot of bodies. A lot of gods are dead. When we came back, Barabask tried to have us killed once already. Jasmine, a cleric that worked for him, spared us. And that's when we made our way to Baroon, and I suppose you'll say the rest is history. That's how we ended up here. We didn't kill the gods, but we found ourselves stuck in something pretty big, and we don't know what it is, why it's happening, or why we're in the middle of it.
And as you're doing that, Kylen, who is the last one still eating, almost out of a point of principle, threw a mouthful of bread, says, I didn't think you'd killed gods. You all struggled a little bit with a scary man with a big sword. I didn't think you really had it in you to kill.
Probably wouldn't make comments on being scared about men with big swords.
Listen, I'm not too proud to admit he was a scary man with a big sword. My point stands.
Kellen, you fought bravely. You have some really good moves I watched from behind the hinge.
Are you talking to Kylen the barbarian or Kellen the sniper?
Kylen.
Kylen, yeah.
Who's
Kylen.
talking?
Kylen.
Kylen, this is the barbarian.
A lot of people make the same mistake. For some reason, we
similar.
have very similar
red hair.
names.
It's hard to tell the difference. You fought bravely. You have some fantastic moves.
Thank you.
I would appreciate spending some time with you in the practice yard.
I don't see why that can't be arranged. The first thing in the morning, I like to start early.
Hope you like
That's
sunrise.
fine with me.
It's not proper practice unless you have to smash the ice on top of the water bucket.
Excellent.
I'll be fine.
Just as he says that, ignore me. Ignore me. I've just realised we haven't rested.
No, you haven't rested yet.
So ignore me.
No, you haven't rested yet.
Sorry, Kill.
So I will then go on to explain that the Antiqua have scattered. Some are already dead. And the ones that remain, well, they weren't the friendliest to us to begin with, but
One was.
one was.
Unfortunately, that one is dead. So
One is dead.
allies are thin on the ground at this point.
And Eden says, and which one would that be?
Gronoth.
I'd heard good stories, you know.
He told good stories. He was a good person. He was as truthful as the deity for the dwarfs should be. But the web had other ideas.
All right. It's wide, isn't it?
His eyes are to the stars in the sky. Well, 5 less stars than there were before. Six,
If
I
I
suppose.
never hear that call and response again, it will be too soon.
You've gone, have you? You're striking out on your own.
We had a choice to make. Or well, some of us had a choice to make. And the choice was either to do as the web asked of us, or to protect you. And as a group, we chose to protect you. We are enemies of the web now.
Which means so are you.
Well, maybe not yet.
It's coming, Dolly.
And your mother says, in a voice with no emotion whatsoever, right, well, you had the opportunity to protect your family, and you did. Of course you did. You were never going to do anything else, were you, girl?
I was never going to do anything else.
Right, well, that's settled then. So, you've done something for us, we need to find a way of doing something for you. And then she fixes you with a stare and says, I take it you won't be staying.
I can't stay.
No.
Although someone should probably tell our father that I'm here. My
I
name
can-
was in the sky.
I can handle your father. He'll understand in his own way. I mean, he absolutely will not. But he doesn't really have a choice, does he?
He's the last person to know that I'm here. He found out the same time as everybody else in Reliquie. But no, I can't stay. We are now involved in something utterly ridiculous. More ridiculous than finding out the gods are dead. And we're gonna need to find some more answers. It's not safe for me to stay here. If I'm not here, you've all got plausible deniability.
Right, well, that's decided then. And she starts to clear up some plates and bowls on the table. As Jeremy Teaberry kind of buzzes around trying to take them off her, but she's really not having it. It's enough, Jeremy. That's enough.
There's still a message we can send if we want to.
And let's ask Eden.
Okay.
He's in charge, and whatever he thinks is best for the family is what we do from here.
And Kellen at this point says, where do you think you're going to go? I mean, what? We're safe.
I don't think anywhere's safe.
Well, where's, well, here's fun. Where's dangerous?
The Sanctum.
Oh, you're brave boys and girls, you are.
The Sanctum to the west. Gronov said that one of the Antiqua, Parvis, the Kobold gods, is currently sat at the seat of Dragonborn power. When we got to Mount Atria, there was one god missing. Himself.
I've heard he doesn't even exist, though.
I just waves.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were his little boy. I'm so sorry. I've completely misjudged this. You're a kobold, are you? They said the man in the sky.
This is what Peoples is saying.
Well, you're just you're a small, scaly gentleman, and I thought, well, you know, I don't like to say I don't want to upset anyone, but I thought that's mad. That's absolutely wild.
Confused by some of the strange looks.
I've
we're
never seen
getting.
one of you before.
We Israel.
You Israel, aren't you?
There's many.
Are you? See, you must be very small then, because I've never seen none of you anywhere.
We knows how to hide sometimes, maybe too well.
He's very, very good at hiding.
He wants to be wearing that. Stick out like a sore thumb.
He's a sneaky little booger.
In a good way.
How could it not be? I mean, you saw me out there. I was like the wind.
Yes.
And then he sort of considers and he looks at you and he says, I want to talk to you about something, actually. You use a crossbow, don't you?
I does.
All right, well, I'll speak to you before you go. Tonight's for drinking, not for talking. And he just starts pouring himself a big glass of wine. And with that, Dolly and Deli and
Why didn't you say so?
Kelnis.
I sat thinking about all these interactions where he's suddenly like, oh, that person thought I was Kel's child. And that person is thinking about everything that's been said and done, and then just suddenly something clicks in that moment and just goes,
Its eyes are as to the stars in the sky. his metaphor.
You got it. I'm so proud of you.
I has been saying this for a long time and has not known what it meant.
Just in time for us to leave.
I get it now.
And Eden leans in to you, Indelian and Lasso, and Isolde says, technically it's a simile, but I'll tell you.
Don't upset him, Eden.
You is not silly.
Thank you. And he puts his hand out for the traditional kobold greeting.
and I does it and smells, and then kind of sort of with the little tiara on, just kind of, and then puts my hand out.
Yeah, and he smells and says, soup.
Every day's an experience with him, Eden. You do get used to it eventually.
And then the kind of the table is cleared. The Groenweirds are waiting on you to make a plan. They will, and you would know this, they'll just sit here. They'll sit here and they'll hold the fort, and they will do what they can to get messages out to Barun and to any of the other cities that they can reach to try and get more reinforcements. And of course, you know, they have a great youth academy, so within 10 years they'll be well stocked. But for now, the kind of immediate, they would just prepare themselves for anything that might come.
As we want them to know we is going to the sanctuary, is that maybe a risk for them?
Well, they already know. But late.
It's fine. They have no reason to not support us.
But perhaps it's better if they don't know. For their sake.
They already know I'm alive. They're in trouble enough as it is. They've just defended a fort the Gloam tried to take. The battle doesn't stop for my family here.
No, but we stemmed the tide a little bit.
We did. We've bought them some more time. They know what they're up against now as well.
Mm-hmm.
That always helps.
The Gloom's going to need time to reorganize, regroup. And we've shown them that they're not going to be able to take it easily. So, it's good. But if we can give them some little bit of extra protection, it might not be a bad idea.
So what do you want to send through the stone?
I don't know. I mean, I can only send the message as Morgan. So it makes sense that whatever we tell them, that either they're still waiting out. We could tell them the supplies never came. We could tell them that they did come and the thing was a resounding success. I don't know.
I'd say sending nothing is probably the worst.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't hear anything, they'll send people to check.
I agree.
So we need to find a solution.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd argue no matter what you send, go either way. So let's just send the most confusing thing possible.
I'll think on it.
And so the rest of the dinner passes. And as people start to clear the room, get up to leave, still Torian hasn't said anything to anyone, just looking down at his bowl the entire time. Everyone just roll me a d20 and see who gets closest to what I rolled. I rolled a 13 for Torian.
Is this perception?
No, this is just a d20, no modifier, just whatever you got. Radiant?
17.
9.
9.
19.
19.
2.
19.
19. So a 9 and a 17. They're both 4 away. Reroll. And Radiant.
What did you roll?
13.
I got a 7.
I've got 12.
12. As you go to leave the room, Radiant, a hand reaches out and holds you by the wrist and sort of pulls you back towards the table. And Torian lifts his head, and you see that there's this kind of balding spot on the back of his head, but the rest of it around the sides is still thick, and his beard is thick tucked into his belt. And he says, "You've been to the top of Mount Atria, have you?"
Yes.
Was it beautiful?
I don't believe the way that you do. I've never known the love of a god the way that you do.
The way I did.
But even when we were up there, the devastation, the black, it made me want to believe. I'm sorry that your god is dead. You don't have to live the rest of your life and not feel alive.
Roll me persuasion with advantage.
Not 20.
And it's almost like you watch that thought, you watch the impact of your words drop, fall into the surface of his mind like a pebble drop down a well. And with that moment of it splashing on the surface of the water, his eyes come alive a little, and he said, "We fought, and I lived. She was already gone."
And you fought well.
I really did. And he says, your friend, the one you saved when you pulled that card, she, in some ways, she's not as strong as the rest of you,
And in some ways she's stronger.
of course. But I think I can help remedy that weakness.
What do you mean?
I will bring something. It probably, she doesn't know me. She's traveling with my sister, and I wish for my sister to have her friends and those she chooses to fight beside her for as long as possible. And so I don't do this for her or for you, I do it for Erlewin. So I'll bring you something, is all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've told a lot of people that their gods are dead
Right.
because it didn't really mean anything to me. I used it as a weapon, I used it as a tool to get what I wanted. And I've never really seen how it hurts people because I don't believe what they believe. But I've seen how it makes you feel. And I want to say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel that, even though if I can't understand it. I'm trying to understand.
And he still hasn't let go of your wrist. He gives it a little squeeze and he says, "I know you are, boy.
You're kind of hurting my hand a little bit.
I'm strong.
You're very strong.
And she's long gone."
Yeah. I'll tell my friend about that.
Yeah. And then he says, points to his chest, and he says, "Is the flame in here? Flame's been in here." And then he, reaches out and takes a big bite of bread. Looks to have regained his appetite. And so, where do you guys want to head to? It's late now. You've spent a day recuperating, and your bodies are sore and crying out for rest. But the castle is still yours.
I think I'm going to make my way down to the pantry for, some extra bits of... I'm not full. I want snacks.
Yeah.
So-
Great. You make your way down to the pantry. You know where it is by now because Wilder took you in there.
Yeah.
And when you get down, there are a couple of members of the household staff who are organising things, preparing loaves that are going to be taken next door where the bread ovens are. They are doing all kinds of preparation for further meals, weighing out oats to make porridge for the morning for those who are sheltering within the castle. And they look up and say, can I help you?
I'm just looking for a snack. Do you have any pickles?
Yeah.
Pickled cucumbers.
I think we've got pickles. We got pickled, and then this human with a sort of a very long nose starts picking through. We've got pickled cucumbers. We've got pickled beetroot, sweet and sharp. We've got pickled eggs. I don't recommend pickled eggs. We've got, they're not hen's eggs. I'll say no more than that. We've got pickled cauliflower, like a kind of piccalilli.
Oh, I'll have it all.
Any bread with that, or crackers, cheese?
Oh, crackers.
Chutney?
And cheese.
Nothing sweet for you? Couple of apples?
Oh, did you say chutney?
Chutney?
I'll have the chutney. Just give me a big platter full of stuff.
And he makes you...
It makes it charcuterie.
He makes you a charcuterie board. He makes you a sort of sharing platter. Like the sharing
You're
platter.
dying of starvation. You're really held up in here on rations, but you carry on have a charcuterie board.
You make a sharing platter for 4.
And I carry it up to
Roll me
Delia
sleight of
through.
hand.
Oh, God.
20.
Yeah, you don't spill a drop. I mean, not a thing. Not even these little silver skin onions that have
come
been
on.
pickled that are almost perfectly spherical, and they're rolling like a kind of little marble game that you would play as a child. But you're surfing the wave, and you get up. You smell him before he actually arrives. You can just smell that sort of sharp brine and vinegar, and also you can hear Kel, if you will allow me this liberty, whistling a jaunty tune to himself as he.
So happy, so happy.
And you take them to Indelian's chambers, where, unless anyone wants to go anywhere, where the rest of you can be found.
I'm just aware that if I rest, I lose this this mantle. So I feel like I might need to do this sooner rather than later.
I'm gonna take a glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine, and I'm gonna ask Dolly to come up to the observatory, just the 2 of us. I think.
Love to.
And Delian leads you up this grand staircase into past the room where you first met formally with the Grenweirds, met Toran up there, and into this all sides, a glass on all sides. And it's a big sky up here. Above the tree line, above the crenellations, far from the kind of the constantly burning torches of Barun, which somewhat black out the sky. It's like there are infinite stars when you look up.
I can tell why you like it up here.
Yeah, well, we didn't get to come up here a lot as kids, but this is where I realized the world was bigger than just my forest, and that I wanted to go and see it.
I had something similar happen too. Can I be completely honest?
Now's as good a time as any.
I was pretty sure I knew exactly who you were the first time I saw you.
And why would you know who I am?
Because I grew up here.
In Mouse?
Mm-hmm.
Do I know you?
I don't think so. Kept to myself. Most of the time.
Why didn't you say anything sooner?
Because of pretty much anyone in this group, I know the value and the desire to be who you want to be, rather than who you were told to be.
So why did you leave Mouse?
Because I was bigger than it.
I know that feeling.
Or at least I want it to be.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. Still working on it.
I'm guessing coming back to Mouse doesn't feel the same for you as it does for me.
No. I never really felt particularly close to this place. I couldn't wait to leave.
Do you feel particularly close to anywhere?
No.
Guess we'll just have to keep finding a place. Keep looking. It's got to be somewhere.
Yesterday was probably one of the first times, certainly one of the only times I can remember, that I did something not entirely for myself. And I'll be honest, it's terrifying. I don't know what's going to happen next, and I don't know that I am strong enough to stay on this path. But right now, with a glass of wine in my hand, and what feel like real, actual friends, I'm feeling hopeful.
I say we've got a better chance out of the web than in it. I think what happened yesterday, we were always meant to do that.
I hope so.
There's no going back now.
No, there isn't. And speaking of, I need to reply. I don't think we have a lot of time. I mean, realistically, that battle wouldn't have gone on for very long, and I was told to deliver the supplies by first light. I already sent word that the group had split, so I think whatever I say, it would only be me and Radiant that would have delivered the supplies. And that puts us in less, but also more danger than the rest of you. Because, well, the rest of you could be anywhere by now. But it's a bigger betrayal, obviously, for us.
I'm going to be hunted by the web no matter what, so why don't we tell the web that you delivered the goods, but the Gremweeds held the fort. Essentially, you and Radiant are still good with the web while the rest of us are running. And at least then the Gloam, well, my brothers have time for the next attack because Gloam isn't going to stop.
Hollie reaches into her pocket and takes out the sending stone. And from the hand that she's holding it in, up her arm, it starts to change. And she becomes Morgan again. Holds it, looks at Endelian, or Element. And then goes, supplies were delivered. Supplies were delivered by the tiefling and the elf, but the Grandweirds held fast. The mouse still stands. The web's wide.
And you hear a response. You hear the spinner's voice. And he says, "You know what this means, Morgan. She will pay the price." And that's the end of the message.
I relay that to Endelian. I think that might be.
The web is ruthless. We know this.
I know, it doesn't make it any easier.
It doesn't. But also there was nothing we could have done.
I guess that's true. Glugs in one go.
The best thing we can do is get some answers, see if we can start to unpick this mess. Why the hell is the web involved?
Depends what the Gloam promised them, offered them. The web is only ever out to further the web, right?
Exactly. So whatever it is the Gloam have, the web wants it.
But why would the web? I mean, the Gloam just seems to be so much darker than, I don't know, we just don't understand it yet, but it seems like a pretty dangerous ally to make.
Yeah, and the web wouldn't make dangerous allies if it wasn't worth it.
That's true.
Who'd have thought finding all the gods dead was going to be the easy part?
Yeah, that was the start of the adventure.
Maybe I didn't always want adventure.
There's varying degrees, right? Like rescue a dog from a well, find dead gods. There's got to be something in between those two things.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we'll find what that is, because at this pace, I'm going to end up an alcoholic. And I just throw back my wine.
Cheers to that.
Back down in Delian's chambers, Kelness is enjoying his shot.
Oh, God. Oh, what is that? This is cheese. That's not cheese. I've had cheese before. That is not cheese. Oh, God.
It's very, very, very blue cheese.
That's the best blue cheese.
No, I want to be
All of
sick.
the liquid.
No, I don't want to be sick.
Yeah.
Give me something else. Give me something else to wash it down. Okay.
cauliflower.
Oh, God, what is it? Why are you giving me this?
My room is going to stink.
Yeah, it is.
This is disgusting. I can tell you're pungent, but this is not nice. Why would you eat this?
Because it's good.
Do you have anything else that doesn't taste like ass?
Tastes like ass.
It tastes like ass, and I have. I've never tasted. I've never tasted ass in my life, but I've always imagined if I were to, it would taste like this. This is the most ass-like I've ever tasted. Have you tried this?
No, and I
Try it.
I
Tell me it doesn't taste like ass.
You haven't really sold it on me right now. I'll be honest.
Does anyone else want this ass cheese?
Fine.
Opening all the windows.
It smells like a bad deli.
Someone try the ass cheese,
Okay,
please.
okay. I'm gonna try.
Roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Constitution saving throw against ass cheese.
DC 12.
Okay, where's my saves? Hold on.
I think you have a +0, right?
Yeah. A 9.
Yeah, it's tasty.
Oh my god! Oh,
See?
it's so bad!
Oh, why is
Why
ass?
do they have this?
No, Aya's
the entire time.
Aya's just been taking tiny little things and just watching on.
Yeah.
Like not even noticing that he's eating the very same cheese that they're all talking about.
How are you not feeling this? It kind of like burns when it goes into the body.
I suddenly
this
clocked
isn't food.
that this is the cheese, and almost like a delayed taste goes.
I'm almost worried that I'm going to get in trouble with my mum for eating food in my room.
Calnus picks up an egg from an unknown source, but definitely pickled. It's kind of turned a little brown around the edges. Looks at everyone and says, "You have no idea what you are missing."
He absolutely loves it.
I love that we're all like probably like sitting around cross-legged on Delian's bed, just like cheese and crust.
There's going to be so many crumbs in my bed.
Yeah, so many crumbs.
There's wine and crumbs.
gown.
Look at the crumbs in my bed.
I've lost one of those eggs as well. It might be.
So, you rest.
Under the bed.
You rest under the bed.
Just as I'm going to sleep, or as I'm kind of, laying in my bedroll
Burping.
or draped across Delian's bed trying
No.
to find rotten eggs.
No, you're on the floor.
I want to pull one of those funky little stones
Yeah.
that we found on the bodies out of the bag of holding, and just investigate. I just want to have a really good look at it. Maybe have a little.
Oh, toot. Careful.
Yeah, just see if it actually does make a noise.
You toot the little thing.
Please don't toot the thing.
Whoa.
And the room is filled with the sound of screams.
Sorry.
What just happened?
What the hell was that?
There's been enough terrifying things happen to my family over the last few days. We do not need that inside the castle.
The door, springs open and Kylen is stood there, axe in both hands, like, right, all of you then!
No, Kai, everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's these whistles. We found them on the gloam, on the battlefield. Calnus was testing one. It makes that sound.
He says, give it you.
Hell.
No, I've got to know.
Yeah.
And he blows into it.
That's a lot.
That noise is how this cheese tastes.
Honestly,
He's
it's not
not
that
wrong.
bad.
And that's where we'll take a little break.
Sorry, what? So you want me to read this? It's just I thought I did the ad reads. I wrote them. I say them. Everyone loves them. Okay, so I'm just reading. I'm reading Harry's words because he did mine. Fine. Hi, I'm Harry McEntire, the thinking man's Chris Hemsworth. A man so intellectually girthy I once powered my washing machine for a month using nothing but the electrical signals that fired from my synapses during one 5-minute section of Bake Off. Was it the power of my brain? Maybe. Was it the simple arousing stimulation of a perfectly proved sourdough starter? Always. It's always the sourdough starter. My God, you should see it. The national grid would climax uncontrollably at the electrical ferocity with which my mind erupts at the sight of nice bread. But I'm also relentlessly kind. I'm sure you've noticed. My hairdresser once declared that I had the affability of an OG Care Bear mixed with the raw social charisma of one of the less problematic Mr. Main characters. I like to think they meant Mr. Tickle. And it's that kindness that I extend to you. By literally not being here. The thing is, I worry for you. I do. I understand the simple sight of me might blow your mortal minds, so I've recruited my significantly less charismatic, dumber, uglier colleague, Ben Starr, to read this for you. Believe me, I'm doing your minds and fuse boxes a favor. Gaze on his average visage with neutral indifference, and hear him say this. Sign up for our Patreon, so Ben can get cosmetic surgery and Doug can get a sweater that he likes from an Instagram ad that he saw about 3 weeks ago. I really like the rest of them, I do. And I wish I could do it only with them. And Ben would be dead. We'd make it look like natural causes. But it would be oh so calculated. Aoife would have buried his body. She said she knows a guy. Sign up for our Patreon now. What the f***? And Ben would be dead.
So, once rested, you are now level 6.
Yay!
So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go around and let's roll our HP now. For those of you who are unfamiliar with how we roll the HP here at Natural Six Towers, we roll the hit die. You add your Constitution modifier. That's as per rules as written. But what the little homebrew that we have is that if you roll a 1 first time around, you can re-roll, but you have to take the next. Who would like to go first? Who's feeling spicy?
Yeah,
you are. Yeah.
Oh, go on then.
Doug.
Go.
okay.
Sure.
So it's a
Why
D8
not?
plus your con modifier.
5 plus
There you
3.
8.
So 8.
He's a tanky.
8 new
tanky
HP.
bastard.
Woohoo.
Go on, Ben.
Go on, Ben. A D6.
That's a 2 plus a 2 is 4.
Worst it could be.
Possible worst.
Go on, Alex.
That is a 5. Total 5.
Delian.
Roll again because it's a 1.
Oh no.
10 as a final.
It's a 6.
It's a 6 in total. And then go on, Dolly. Go on, Dolly. To
Get his big
win.
numbers.
Roll an 8.
We actually have a homebrew where if you roll an 8, you have to
re-roll.
Oh my god.
So we shall leave you all asleep, suffused with this newfound power. But the first thing that happens in the morning, as the first sort of slow blades of morning light are starting to cut through the thick fabric of the drapes, is that there is a knock on the door, And Kelnis, you wake with Kylen looking round at the door at you and he says, "Right, come on. Should have been up by now."
Oh, okay. Just one moment, and I give Endelion a little push.
What?
I've got a name for you. Ginger Nut, and then I run off.
And then
You know when you're half awake and you're not sure something's actually a dream or it's real.
absolutely, I would
Like,
say, without even rolling, you absolutely think you dreamt it.
yeah.
And you follow Kylen down into the little training area. It's still super cold by this point. Your breath fogging up as you emerge into the chilly morning. And Kylen, as he was before, is just leather straps across a bare chest, gets his axe from a nearby rack, takes up a warrior's stance and says, "All right then, what do you want to know?"
I want to increase my knowledge and ability with bigger weapons.
Bigger stick, more damage, right? Right, we'll have a go with this then. And he hands over his great axe to you. Yeah. And there's in front of you is like a carved figure of a torso with a head made of wood wrapped in leather. That bears multiple gouges and scars from where it's been attacked over and over again. Roll me a strength saving throw as you try to wield this axe.
Sorry, something's happening here. Strength saving throw. It's an 8.
An 8. You go to pick it up, and you're trying to kind of. You just about get it to.
I fall over backwards.
Yeah, absolutely. You just about get it to vertical, and the weight of it goes backwards. And as you're about to hit the ground, a hand comes underneath you, like your head almost, and supports you, and just pushes you back up.
Maybe the great axe isn't my thing.
Maybe you need a bit more padding anyway, don't you? You would have cracked your head like an egg. Like a pickled egg.
You smelled that, did you?
Yeah, I did, to be fair.
Sorry, it's
I'm guessing you had the last one. Because I went down there, there were no pickled eggs.
Oh, do you like them?
Of course I do. I'm not made of stone.
Good man.
So he says, "Right then, well, try this." And he throws a practice kind of dull-bladed greatsword to you. Two-handed weapon. Roll me a strength save on that.
20.
20. This makes sense. This fits your hand really much, much better. And there's this sense as soon as you pick it up that it feels easy. You've kind of engaged your core. You're like using the muscles all through your body.
This feels good.
Go on then, try it out, will you? And he gestures for you to take a swing at the dummy.
Okay, and I take a swing.
Yep, so roll an attack using your strength modifier and your proficiency bonus.
What would my proficiency bonus
Your
be?
proficiency bonus is +6. +3, sorry.
So strength.
Yep, strength
Yeah.
plus.
Okay, so that's a 9.
It's a 9. As you go to swing it, this first arc, it like nicks the shoulder of it, but again, there's this thing happening with the weight distribution. You can't quite.
This too may be a bit large. It feels good though.
He walks towards you and he says, "Can I ask you something?" When it was all happening, and he jerks his head towards the gate. Out there. I didn't see you for a long time. What was it? Was it fear?
No. No, Kelnis is not afraid. No. I had a plan, but it didn't work out quite the way I planned. I had to cast a few spells first.
What? Spells to make you tough? Spells to make you fast? What were you trying to do?
Spells to protect me.
And he looks at your armor. I think you're wearing leather armor, right? Says, "Well, that's not going to do an awful lot, is it?" Looking at your armor, he says, You keep practicing with that, points to the sword. Wait here. And he disappears. And after a while, he comes back and he's holding a chain shirt, interlocking metal rings with the House Grenweird crest at the center of it. He says, I never really got on with this sort of thing. Why don't you try it? Holds it out to you.
I take it and Can I shrug it on over my leather armor?
Yeah, you can shrug it on over for now, and then ultimately what you can do is you can kind of put it under armor. You can use it as essentially as an extra level of padding.
Okay, I'll just shrug it on. Tuck it around. Take off my belt. Cinch it around. Feels heavy. Feels weighty.
Now try shifting that. And he nods again towards the sword.
Take another swing. 19.
Suddenly, Kel, as you lift this sword, it's like you just feel tougher. You feel like your body is kind of ready for the load that this sword places upon it. And you slash down with 2 hands with this great sword. And you almost cut the head of this dummy clean off. And you hear Kylan laugh. He says, that's more like it. I tell you what, I can't give you the sword, it's blunt as anything, but that shirt, he points to the chain mail, that's yours. So, Kelnis, that's a chain shirt which has an AC of 13 plus your dexterity with a maximum of 2. So what's your dexterity modifier?
3.
So you get an...
Yeah, 3.
So you now have an AC of 15. And you are now considered proficient with medium armor and with martial weapons. As per... Do you want to tell people what it's as per?
The Dungeons and Dragons 2024 New Player's Handbook.
Yeah. So there's so for those who like to kind of figure out mechanically what's happening, that's Kel has picked the Ward archetype. So he now has proficiency in medium weapons and martial weapons and medium armor. Kylen says, next time it all kicks off, and sort of pushes a little bit on the rings and they jangle on your chest. Says, that'll let you get in there a bit quicker, I reckon.
Thank you. By the way, I just happen to have 1 pickled egg. It's yours.
Oh, you're a lifesaver. He slams it straight into the thing. And as he, chewing it in the most repulsive way, chews with his mouth fully open, so much of it falls out.
You eat like I eat.
And then he claps you on the shoulder, says, right, much to do, and he just walks over to a frozen bucket of water, slams his head into the ice. Right, back up in Delian's chambers. The rest of you are starting to wake as light makes its way in.
You have to lean over the bed and wake Eye up. You have to lean over the bed and look under and be like, oh.
I've got the leather armor is off, like a little pillow, like there, still in the dress because it's almost like a sleeping gown.
Yeah, absolutely, the traditional sleeping gown. We've all worn them.
Yeah.
It's a British and Irish tradition. We all wear sleeping gowns.
Radio wakes up. Well, he's not really been asleep. Well, he doesn't really sleep, does he? He kind of just meditates.
Trancing.
And heads over to Dolly and shakes her asleep and says, Dolly.
What?
I'm sorry, before we go, make sure you speak to Toran before we go.
Okay. What?
I don't know. He said he has something for you.
Sure.
Apparently you're really weak.
He said that.
His words, not mine.
Be nice
Those
to
were his
Torian.
words.
He's had a rough couple of days. Please be nice to my brother.
He specifically said you look incredibly weak and gross.
Radiant, stop it.
He said you smell.
Radiant.
You said you smell.
Roll persuasion or deception. Right, roll deception. This is a lie.
That's a 23.
You can roll insight against it.
I want to roll instead against that. Hold on.
He said you are so smelly.
What is it? Perception?
Insight.
Insight. Okay. 16.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Toran was... Maybe
Right. Let's go.
Hey, no, it's fine. It's just, have a shower.
You had a bath the night before. I mean, if
smelling
anything,
great.
you were the
What's
one in
everyone
there the
talking about?
longest.
His words, not mine.
I don't know. That sounded like you just saying that just then.
Let me have a smell.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Are you sure you've had a shower?
Yeah. Yesterday we all did.
Hey, guys, go it. Honestly, smell Dolly.
I'm not smelling Dolly.
Smell Dolly.
I'm
She's-
not smelling
Just
Dolly.
smell Dolly.
I need you to smell me right now because I can't believe what's coming out of his mouth.
If I walk up and smell Dolly, do I get the same thing as I have with Radium, where I can smell it with baby?
Collecting.
It's a flat no.
Fine, I'll smell you.
What does Dolly smell like, Dolly?
I think she smells lovely. Cloves, cinnamon, a bit of vanilla. Like,
You smell like mulled wine.
thank you. See?
Give me another smell. Let me smell you. God, no, can no one else smell this?
No.
This is like when people have that specific gene that makes
like
them hate the taste of coriander.
Do you know what? I actually have that gene,
Do
which I
you?
quite like the idea that Radiant, he has the most abnormal taste and smell. So in fact, it wasn't deception.
He's the
he
man
just-
who brags about smelling like an old desk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredibly musky.
So you've been told to go and find Toran.
I'm ready to fight now.
Yeah, as you're down, I'm like, please,
I've literally
please
just
be
woken
nice
up
to
and
my brother.
I've been insulted so many times. I am on the warpath right now.
And as you go out into the corridor, you pass Kellen, who is carrying a crossbow, and he says, "They still in there? Are they?
Yeah. Everyone's
Lazy
still in there.
bones, huh?
I know. Wouldn't catch me still sleeping at this hour. Definitely not.
Right. Sorry, I better.
You know where your brother Toran is? Where does he tend to hang out this time of the day?
Probably be with Roos.
And Roos is?
Roos is the priest who you saw getting their feet tied up.
I know that. Dolly doesn't know that.
Dolly doesn't know that, of course. So he says, sorry. He's a priest. He's ground floor on the in the east wing.
Ta.
And you head downstairs, and you pick your way along, sort of seeing door after door after door, until you've reached a door that is slightly ajar, and within it you can see this portly little priest with this little brown beard and spectacles. His ankle is heavily strapped, as you saw before, and he's saying to Toran, but what's it all been for, if not for... I can't. And Toran has kind of got down on his haunches and is holding onto both of his hands, and he says, but that's not the point. That's what I came to realize when I spoke with Ellie's friend. It's the fire that's inside you, Roos. That's never going to go away now, is it?
Dolly's listening, and ordinarily it would be her instinct to listen for as long as possible because she's always collecting information and storing it. But in this instance, she's going to go,
And both heads snap round.
Hi. Sorry to interrupt. I was told to come speak to Toran.
Ah, yes, not at all. Sorry. And he looks at Roos and says, we'll talk about this more. And Roos just nods and reaches out to kind of nurse to sort of scratch at his ankle under the binding where it's getting itchy. And Toran grabs a book from a shelf and takes you out into the court. And he says, why don't you come with me?
Okay.
Bit of fresh air. And he goes out into this sort of enclosed courtyard in the centre of the castle, which has like a vegetable garden and herbs. And he says, I was talking to your friend, the one with the, and he gestures as if for the scars.
Yeah.
You're quite powerful out there. You can do some extraordinary things and you command extraordinary power.
Do what I can.
But you hurt easy.
Yeah, I do.
Well, I was thinking, if you're going to be by my sister's side, I want you present for as long as is possible. We don't want to lose your magic, not in the midst of everything.
Now, it can come in pretty handy in a pinch.
So, he lifts his book and you can see it's heavy. He says, I never got through this myself. You got to spend quite a lot of time reading it and it alone, and well, I've never been great at concentrating for too long on one book. I like to have a few on the go. So, but as I understand it, it's dense, and it's not very interesting, but it can do something to help.
I used to love reading when I was growing up. It was pretty much all I did. Don't tell anyone that, though. Especially not the wizard.
No, secret safe with me.
But, yeah, I think I could probably get through this.
And he hands you this book. It's blue leather, and it has 4 little rubies set into circles of gold. And from each of these circles of gold, it's like a ribbon of gold emerges and wraps itself around a figure of a kind of Vitruvian man. Mm-hmm. Roll me an investigation check.
9.
It's you flick it open and it's boring as hell. It really, really is dry. It's about health tips, diet tips. It's formulae for making certain type of restorative sort of like, if you like, ginger shots and that sort of stuff. It's sort of things that you can do to just give yourself a little bolster. And this is the Manual of Bodily Health. Mm-hmm. And if you spend multiple days studying it, your constitution score increases by 2.
Yes, please.
So over the next couple of days, we'll have you roll to read this manual, and when you've put in enough hours.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just going to snap the book shut. You're a religious person, right?
Yeah, to my bones.
Do you believe people are innately good or innately bad?
He looks at you and then looks up at the sky, and he says, I think we all come from the divine. I think we are all born with a seed of something wonderful, dormant within us. And it's up to us if we choose to water that seed, tend to it, nurture it as it grows, or if we allow it to be consumed by the weeds of the worst part of our natures. I believe we have a choice, and I believe that the power of the divine far outstrips the power of anything else, but we have to want it.
And those of us who aren't so divinely inclined, you believe we have as good a chance as anyone?
You can't help it. Whether you believe in Alakash, and he switches into perfect infernal. Whether you believe in Alakash or any of the other gods, it matters not.
She replies in infernal. I haven't heard that in a long time.
I thought it was only right, given that all the gods played a part in the creation of this world, that I should spend time learning the languages with which they called that creation to be.
Wasn't expecting it to make me feel homesick. Today's gonna be a strange one, I can already tell.
And then he switches back into common. Take care of each other, won't you?
Starting to learn that that's for the betterment of everyone.
I don't want that back when you've read it. It's awful.
Okay, it's pretty dense,
It's
I gotta
dry,
say. I mean,
yeah.
there's... How do you think I smell, by the way?
I beg your pardon?
Do I smell okay? right now?
He blushes intensely. Like you suddenly get. Roll me an insight.
That is a 17.
Okay, he is. Eden's a handsome, handsome man, and Derwin, who you saw back in Barun, this big kind of statuesque, like bright-eyed young guy, huge arms. Kylen has a certain rugged charm. Kellen is a bit of an indie Cindy, a smaller crowd, but he knows how to play it. And Torian's always felt a bit like the one who wasn't blessed in that regard, and has never, you feel, probably ever had much in the way of a romantic life, and therefore just is completely unprepared for how to deal. He doesn't know what's happening. Doesn't know if this is some kind of like first move. He doesn't know whether he should say he can smell. And he says, you.
It's not bad, right?
No, no.
Right.
And he leans in very tentatively and like diverts his eyes as far away from you as his nose gets closer to your body as he possibly can.
Get right in there.
Yeah, that's him. And he looks at you for a second and gives you a very shy smile and says, "That's lovely, actually."
I know. Thank you.
Yep.
What is wrong with him?
I don't know. I don't know these days much about anything.
She's gonna storm off.
Right. Bye.
Thanks for the book.
No, it's my pleasure. Now, as you're preparing for the road and chatting, there's a knock on the door, not long after Dolly's left. And Kellen is framed in the door. Says, yeah, I wanted to talk to you.
I was getting the dress.
Don't worry about that, you look lovely. Huh? Stay in there, doesn't matter.
I literally head just threw out the dress as he says it, and then suddenly, like, not forgetting that it was an illusion, suddenly, like...
reaches for the tiara.
It's now like, oh shit, I've lost Radiant's tiara.
Okay. He says... He holds his hands out with the crossbow in it. He says, I spent a lot of time, like when I was young, being like, no one could touch that. It don't really suit me. I saw you, doing your thing, and you hit an awful lot more than you miss, and, well, turns out I'm more comfortable with a bow than I am some kind of contraption. And holds this crossbow out to you, and it's made of oak, with these patterns of oak leaves inlaid in gold. And the stock where it sits in your shoulder is wrapped in green leather to absorb the impact and sort of lessen pressure on the kitback. He says, the problem with it is, don't always work as it should. You need to find someone someone who knows what they're doing, to have a proper look at it. But if you can pay for it to be fixed, it's yours. So this is a +1 magical crossbow. Here's how it will mechanically work. If you want to use it as is, on every shot you'll roll a d6, and if you roll a 1, it just misfires and doesn't work. But if you can take it to a smith or an armorer, there's this thing called a cranakin, which is essentially this 3-part twisting housing, which is clipped and has teeth in it. And that needs to be replaced by specifically a metal worker, or a metal worker of reasonable regard. Once you do that, you'll have a functioning +1 crossbow.
Okay. I takes it and feels its weight and kind of admires it, and looks at him and goes,
It does not work now, but I is grateful. I is grateful.
No, I know. I mean, it's a bit of an anticlimax, really, in a way. I mean, like,
I think you need something as well. 1 minute.
And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it down on the bed. I'm going to look around, and I'm scrambling under the bed, and I'm getting on top of the bed, and I'm lifting up the bed sheets, and I'm going,
Somewhere here, there is a tiara, as you can have it.
I tell you what,
You can have it.
that's so kind of you. I'll say to Jeremy when he finds it, that's mine.
Good.
My little friend said.
Gods is yours.
And
I thanks you.
then he, as you go to kind of strap this crossbow on your back next to yours, he sort of reaches out and he puts his hand on it, and he looks at you very seriously and he says, I never met one of your kind before, but another way of looking at it is, I've never known your kind lie. So if I ask you to swear something, would you stay true to that promise?
I does not lie. Maybe sometimes I tells too many truths.
That's probably a good side of the line to fall down on in times such as this. If I give you this, you promise, you swear it, you'll fight alongside my sister, you'll do everything you can to keep her safe, and you'll never stray from the path you two choose.
They is now Ice Tribe. And I does not leave Ice Tribe. I knows what it is to be left by tribe. And I will never gives that feeling to another.
Well, that'll do for me. Good. I knew I liked you. And then he kind of gives you a sort of gentle, kind of quite brotherly, really, cuff, and says, and I'll go look on the road, I'll see you off, and disappears into the corridor.
I is gonna head back inside. Are you inside?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my room is like a thoroughfare. I'm still in bed. I'm still trying to see you were just lifting the covers up a second ago. I'm still in bed.
I is gonna go back over to the and Indelian, who was sort of just maybe trying to shield from the light that is gonna lift it up. Just gonna take the crossbow off the back and go, and then put the bedding back down.
I'm honestly just going to put the pillow over my head and then try and go back to sleep.
So there's a couple of hours in which you're going to prepare yourselves to leave, pack, do all the things you need to do. Is there anything anyone wants to do in that time?
Dolly, what did he say?
Well, first of all, he said it didn't smell.
That's not what he said to me earlier. He specifically said you smelled weird.
Well, it's your word against his, and he's, a holy guy, so I'm going to take his word over that.
I think he got nervous around you.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time I've made someone nervous.
Can I have another smell? Oh my God, it's terrible.
I'm still... Stop it! Get out of my room, you two!
There's only so many times I will take being insulted. I know we're all getting along now, but come on. I smell great, right?
And just
I mean, our eye is absolute deer in the headlights.
just as this happens, Kelmus walks in and sees
Kel, come
with
on,
her
smell
arm up
me.
and Radiant's face in her armpit. And he says, what did I miss?
Radiant insulting me as per usual. Smell me. And?
Smell like mulled wine.
Thank you.
Hey, look at my shirt.
Get out of my room!
Oh, by the way, Hollie, I think there's an egg in there somewhere. Sorry.
Hollie.
Hollie.
Who is a Hollie?
Hey.
Now he was
the
coming up with
appetite
more
couple.
names for them.
Actually, Indelian,
What?
what do we call you now?
I'm
Hollie.
sitting up in bed. You know what?
I'm gonna hop in beside her.
Oh, we are getting close, aren't we?
I sits on the bedpost.
The name Indelian is the name I took when I joined the web. I'm not in the web anymore, so I guess you may as well all call me Elwyn, and the people I care about call me Ellie. So you can call me Ellie.
That mean we're friends now?
Yeah, sure, we're friends. Now get out of my room!
I was also thinking, we is hunted, and you has names. So I thinks it's best if we comes up with secret names. It's very easy.
Uh-oh.
You, I. And now he is no longer people knows us.
Yeah, I just feel like that's gonna get confusing a little bit.
He's not looking for you.
And Indelian pretty much pushes the four of you by.
If you seize the tiara.
Yes!
Egg, if you see
I'm the egg! Get out of my room!
And you've pushed everyone out.
Oh, you does smell nice.
And sort of half a minute goes by, and there's a knock on the door straight away. Elwyn, I think it's your time as well. Well, it's your mother's voice.
Oh, God.
You up? I hope you're not sleeping still.
No, I'm up. I'm awake. 2 minutes, and I'm literally trying to pull on my boots. Hi. Yes. Mum. Hey.
And she says, she looks you up and down, she says, "You're wearing that." And then says, I know you're going. That's fine. We'll be fine. You'll be fine. But, you got a lot of enemies now, I would imagine.
Yeah, most of Reliquia, I gather.
We were supposed to give this to you on a significant day, but, you were gone before then, so... And she hands over a large bag. It would be too big to wear on your belt. You'd almost have to wear it as like a haversack. Just, that's for you. And as she puts it on the end of the bed, it clinks.
It's kind of awkward looking at gifts in front of people, so I'm not even going to open it. I'm just going to be like, what is it?
Well, it's something to help you be a little more comfortable and buy what you need. And roll insight.
That is a 10.
A 10. She's trying sort of not to meet your eye, but you can't quite tell why.
Thank you. Okay, I'll sort of... It's a bit awkward, but I'm going to have a look inside the bag.
It's thousands of gold.
Oh my God. Well, it saves me asking Eden for it on the way out, which is going to be my other plan. This is insane. This is so much money.
It was going to be yours anyway.
Mum, I don't need this much money.
I think you probably do. And if you don't want it, then you can give some to your friends. It's not just for you, mind. Got to take care of everyone.
Yeah.
In your
Radiant's
family.
got quite the shopping habit.
This is 5,000 gold.
Oh my God. Thank you. It'll help. It's nice not having to sleep in the woods.
Was, I guess I owe you another apology then. It was meant to be you. And she says the word as if it's so stupid. Dowry. But, well, I misjudged that one now, didn't I?
Never say never, but it wasn't my plan.
And then she says, I misunderstood you for a very long time.
And I misunderstood you too.
I think we understand each other now, though, don't we?
More so than ever before.
You're a good girl.
Yeah, I try to be.
Right, well, if you're not out of here soon, it'll be dark.
Yeah, I think everyone's ready. I think there's nothing left to do, but
Well, don't waste time then.
no, of course. We'll get going.
And she sort of stands in front of you. Doesn't leave the room. She doesn't seem to quite know what to do, but she's not leaving.
I sort of grab the bag with one hand and the other I sort of just put a hand on her shoulder and I give her a kiss on the cheek and I walk past.
And as you walk past, you hear her say, "And you." And unless there's anything else that you guys want to do in Castle Grownweird, sort of gather down in the
I wanna
courtyard.
Get some more of those eggs.
You get a bag of, roll me a d12.
No.
9.
You have 9 pickled eggs. Please add them to your inventory and track them religiously.
There is one thing I'd like to do.
Absolutely.
I want to pop by the schoolroom. Because I want to look very quickly for Agatha, because I want to try and ask for something.
Okay, very good. Very good. So you pop to where the old schoolroom is.
Yes.
And having a mid-morning snooze in a high purple wingback leather armchair is a gnome, soft-featured, brown eyes with these black braids that she always has back, little spectacles, and the robes that you remember her wearing ever since you were small, covered in moons and stars and wheels. Everything kind of homemade. And she's just very, very gently snoring in her chair.
I'm stood in the doorway. Agatha? Agatha!
And she sort of rouses. Oh, there you are. And it's in that first moment, it's in this moment that you get to think that actually probably she was quite old when you left. And she's really substantially old now, Agatha.
Agatha, I need a favor before I leave. I have someone with us, and he can't read. Do you have any books? I was thinking maybe while we're traveling, we could try helping him learn.
Well, if your brother and his wife are to bring a new generation of Grenweirds into the world, well, it would be foolish for me to have got rid of all of your old books. And she reaches down a couple of different slim volumes from the shelves, and this room is kind of as you remember it. It's a mess of papers. She has that thing that she's done ever since she was small, that where she sort of, if she's really thinking about something, she keeps talking, but her head goes back slightly and her eyes shut behind her glasses. And she's saying, yes, right, well, let me see what we have. And she hands you a copy of A is for Allakash, which you remember, which is a sort of primer on the world, very, very basic. A is for Allakash, B for Baru. And then she hands you something else. And she says, might not be quite ready for it, your companion, but I'd like you to have it. And it's a little leather-bound book, and it's your stories that you wrote. The adventure stories that you used to write, with a female heroine, the name of which you can figure out. It was about a girl who went away and had adventures all around the world and saved people and did incredible things and saw sights that no one else had ever seen.
I can't believe you kept it after all these years. Wonder if I can add some more chapters to it.
Be careful.
I'm trying really hard to be careful.
You're like a gem, you know. You're ever so tough. But you're very precious to a lot of people.
Yeah, It took me a long time to figure that out.
Well, I was actually in the middle of a sleep.
And then in Gnomish, I'll just say, sorry, Agatha. I'll see you soon.
And she beams hearing you speak Gnomish. Absolutely beams. And says back to you in Gnomish, well, at least some of it stuck. And out in the courtyard, the brothers, your mother, Isolde, the militia, all the families have come down to sort of wave you off. Roll me perception checks, all of you. What do we get, Radiant?
10.
Elowen?
17.
17. Calnus?
22.
22.
Oh, sorry, 20.
20.
3.
3 from
15.
15.
Still looking for that tiara.
Yeah.
So everyone with a 15 or above. You spot that there is not an argument going on, but like a serious discussion going on between Eden and Isolde. And they look quite she's sort of throwing her arms a little wide, as if with this kind of sense of, as if he's being unreasonable, as if he's requiring an explanation for something.
Everything all right, you two?
And Isolde turns and her, like, she sort of immediately pulls herself up to her full height. Yes, of course, your brother and I just having a slight difference of opinion on something.
And what would those opinions be?
Eden looks at you and says, you're heading toward the Sanctum. Will you go near the town of Yannick?
We can go near the town of Yannick.
And Isolde looks at him and says, see, all they need to do is ask. Now, you would know of Yannick, and in fact, I think Calnus would know, and Dolly would definitely know as well. Yannick is a sort of little... Mab is a strange woods, these woods to the west of where you are now. They are a little bit more liberal. They're not anarchic, but they have a sense of sort of magic and creativity. And in the center, and that gets sort of more intense the closer you get to Vale, which is the Tiefling capital. And Yannick is quite a small town in the center of Mab, and it's a place of philosophy and learning. And it's an unguarded town. It's a town that has a watch, but it has no walls. And Isolde says, I thought you could tell my mother, and she is the daughter of the Reeve of Yannick, Eris, who's the sort of the elder, if you like, that we would stand a better chance against whatever comes if they were to abandon Yannick. It has no political or strategic value. They bring their watch here, and we make Mouse a more substantial defensive position than it currently is.
Eden, that sounds sensible.
I know, but this is a target. Yannick is not a target. If they stay where they are, there is no reason for them to be disturbed.
Eden, everything's a target. I don't think the Gloam is going to stop just because they take Mouse or they take Load or they take anywhere else. Yannick is at just as much risk as anywhere else. And, well, Castle Cranway's never fallen yet.
And Isolde just looks at him, raises her eyebrows, and he says, well, and looks at you, and then looks at Isolde and gestures towards her and says, she is rarely wrong. I'll see what you think. I trust your judgment. But if you pass that way, it might be worth a word.
And we'll be safe going in. Don't forget, our names are hot property right now.
My mother has strong ties with this family.
Fine.
Did we all hear this? conversation?
I would say it's, probably. I don't think they're making any effort to hide it.
Is this conversation sort of ended and we're moving away from them now, or is it still?
I think it's also worth remembering. We can speak to them, but we does not know where the Gloam lives and where they lies. To brings in people from another town could also be to invite Gloam inside the walls. Just a thoughts.
Gloam might be everywhere, they might not, but the idea that people don't come together to help each other makes us weaker.
You ready for this?
No going back now.
Not tempted to stay?
Always tempted to stay, but there's still some more adventure to be had.
We're really glad to have you with us.
Yeah, add a few more chapters to that story.
And with a nod, Eden looks up to the militia on the walls and they open the gates. And before you is still the bodies of the Gloam, though I'll say off camera, if you like. In the night you told your brothers about Mina and they're going to give her a proper burial. She'll be buried in the family plot, which is in the Starr Woods near the Tide Tree. And you look back, Eowyn, at your home that was so far for such a long time, and now you've been back for such a short time. And your mother stands on the steps, Eden beside her with his wife, your other brothers all gathered round. And you realize you see something that you never thought you'd see, which is you leaving and all of them smiling as you leave. And you head out into the snow on the road to the Sanctum. Now, what route would you like to take to the Sanctum? There are a couple of possible routes. You could head further south, and those of you who are listening or watching along, there is a place where they can have a look at the map.
Yeah. Natural6.net.
Natural6.net, of all things. You can head south and you can go to the northern shores of Lake Cova, and you can go over a bridge there, and then you almost reach the Alanites as you trace the shore of the lake, and then head all the way north, either to the north or south of Vale. There are 2 bridges near Vale. Or you can head back the way you came and go over a bridge that you passed on your way down towards Mouse. And that would take you into Mab, into the forest. And you have an option to go past Yannick and then down to the bridge north of Vale and then up the edge of Seren, the inland sea. Or you could go up past Alvelian.
I mean, couldn't hurt to stop by Yannick and do what we can.
I say we go past that bridge we passed earlier.
What makes you say that?
It's quicker.
You want to avoid the lake?
I say we pass that bridge.
I don't care which route we went, but I want to pass Yannick. I'd rather have more people defending my home than not. And they'll be safer together.
That makes sense. Let's do what we can to make sure Mouse stays safe.
So go
Right,
ahead.
let's go. And Reddy just walks off in that direction. You coming?
Yeah.
And so you start to make your way back north. Now, the first part of this road is a road you haven't walked before because you came in through the tunnels. But Endelian, Eowyn, and Dolly, these are very familiar roads to you. They wind through, they go past the brewery, past the tavern, and then start to wind their way back up through past a collection of farms. The road forks, and you take the northwestern of those forks, and it brings you past the edges of the Starr Woods and towards Arun on the road north. Everybody roll me perception checks as you hit the road. Go ahead, I. 8. Kelness.
25.
Eowyn.
14.
Radiant. 18.
12.
12. Everyone with a 15 and above. Snow started to fall reasonably fresh here. And although this is a well-worn road, and then there's twin marks of cart tracks that speak to an oft-used road, a major road, you can see that there are no footprints that have been left in the snow either side of you. And you check the trees and you walk cautiously along the road, and after a while you realize that there seems to be no danger in this part of your journey. And you walk until that evening you reach the tavern where you saw Paddy and the rest of the survivors of Mouse who were heading north towards Baroon. And it's getting dark, it's getting late. Everyone roll me perception again, please. Go ahead, Dolly.
19.
19. 9.
25.
25.
18.
18.
10.
10, okay. And Deli and Cal, Dolly, there are no signs of life within. It looks to be that as Paddy and the others left, they've hammered planks of wood across the doors. They wouldn't stop anyone who was making concerted effort to get in, but it's an attempt, it seems, to stop the place being looted or ransacked.
Want to find somewhere to stop for the night?
This will be as good a place as any.
Somewhere
Served us
familiar.
well once before.
And with the five of you, you're very easily able to wrench these planks off, and you step into the tavern, and it's really cold. It's really cold. The fire in the hearth has long since turned to embers and then white dust. And there's a little snowfall that's settled in the fireplace as snows come down the chimney.
I set to clearing out the fireplace and trying to gather little bits of tinder and wood and things to start a fire.
There are the chairs and the various accoutrements of the inn, the tavern that you use to start a fire. Roll me an investigation check while you're doing that, please, Kelnis.
12.
12. You find one rock-hard pastry.
Take a little.
It is inedible. It would count as a projectile. You could throw it like you could essentially, it would do as much damage as a stone from a sling at this point.
Stick it in my belt.
Of course you do. Who's got the bag of holding, by the way?
I believe who was it who had it when they ran out and stuck it on? That was. Did you stick it to the
Yeah.
door?
I have the bag of holding.
Great. Radiant has the bag of holding. And you get the fire going in the hearth, and you, again, rest for the night. And you wait the next morning and continue your journey further north. And as you reach the early afternoon, you're approaching the Seraphine River, which is the river that flows north from Lake Cover up towards the mountain. And as you approach it, you can see a dwarf. Can't yet see the river itself. You can see the bridge. You can't see the surface of the water. And you can see a dwarf with a great big fishing rod stood on the bridge, staring down into the water with an expression of puzzlement.
What are we looking at?
And as you look at the water, it is bright blue. But not a kind of, a beautiful, gentle blue that water tends to be. It is vivid blue. It's a color you've never seen. It's so blue, it's almost opaque. It's like paint, but it's still flowing as water ever would. And this dwarf looks at you and says, I can't even see my float.
How long's he been doing that for?
I don't know. I arrived this morning, first light. Wanted to get some good fishing in. You know, this is where the salmon go. And it's blue, but really blue.
Yeah, that's not right.
I would like to walk forward and look at it. And at level 6 rogue, I can now, as an arcane trickster, I can change a spell
Okay.
or a cantrip.
You can change it.
I can switch out a spell or a cantrip at a level up for another one that is available to me at level 1. So I can change one cantrip for another.
Okay.
And I have done so because I realized that I had 2 that were kind of similar.
Okay.
Silent Image. Yeah. So I actually switched out for Shape Water,
Okay.
which is a cantrip. And I can use it within 30 feet, and it affects water within diameter of a 5-foot radius. It's instantaneous. You choose an area of water that you can see within range that fits within a 5-foot cube. You can manipulate it in one of the following ways.
Okay.
Either instantaneously move or otherwise change the flow of the water as you direct, up to 5 feet in any direction. Doesn't have enough force to cause damage. You cause the water to form into simple shapes and animate at your direction. This change lasts for 1 hour. You change the water's color or opacity. The water must be changed in the same way throughout. This change lasts for 1 hour. You freeze the water, provided there are no creatures in it. The water unfreezes in 1 hour. You can cast this spell multiple times. You can have no more than 2 of its non-instantaneous effects active at a time, and you can dismiss such an effect as an action.
Okay.
So, how wide is this flowing that we're looking
The
at?
river is... the river is a substantial river that you need bridges to cross. It's too fast flowing for you to... for people to sort of wade it.
Yep.
It would be deep. It would be 10, 15 foot deep. And it would be 30 feet across.
Okay, so as I can have 2 of the effects active at the same time,
Yeah.
I would like to raise a 5-foot cube of this water out,
Yeah.
kind of bring it in front of us, and see if, as the water leaves, it loses the effect of this bright blue.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's
okay.
like you've taken a piece of the brightest summer sky, the clearest summer sky you've ever seen, and you've suspended it above the frozen white and brown of the dead trees of winter.
Okay, as it doesn't change, I want to use my second use and change its opacity. I want to attempt to make it entirely this body that I pulled out.
Yeah.
Opaque.
Transparent.
Transparent, I'm sorry.
It goes transparent, and you see one fat salmon looking confused sitting in the center of this 5-foot cube of water.
And
And the salmon is alive.
okay, yeah. And I look at everyone else and I go, 1. Oh, not 1 because I can't count. Nor A or B.
What does we think? And also, this fishing is easy.
That's a neat trick. How did you learn to do that?
God, teach me how to do that. Like, the dwarf has stood there has swapped their fishing rod out for a net and is like ready to go.
You can hat.
They throw their. Now it turns into a cube. Is it solid?
No, I don't believe it says
Great.
anything,
Okay.
'cause I can freeze it, so it's not.
As they kind of whip their long-handled fishing net through, they kind of grab this fish. Immediately, as that water is removed from the cube, it turns back to bright blue, and she just reaches in and pulls out this salmon. And goes, "That is absolutely fantastic, by the way."
You're always welcome.
And I drops the water back into the stream. And
It
goes,
just mixes with the rest.
So what does we think?
I think it shouldn't be that colour, but the fish seemed okay.
Is it coming from a certain point?
I mean,
Should we follow the river upstream for a short ways?
Maybe a little ways. I'm curious, but
Now you're on the bridge without rolling. There's this sort of bank that protects you from the bridge, that kind of keeps the. There's like a built-up bank. If the river ever burst its banks, it wouldn't immediately flood the road. And stood on the bridge, you can see that in every direction, as far as you can see, it is bright blue. Bright blue.
I look at Radiant and go,
Is there anything you knows with this, can do with this?
How far away is the banks? Quite easy to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. You can kind of scramble down to the edge of the water.
Yeah, so Raiden just scrambles down to the edge of the water, puts his hands in the water and drinks some.
Okay. It's water.
I wasn't thinking you.
It's water!
It has a little fish in it, a tiny fish.
There was a tiny fish in it.
But yeah, it doesn't taste any different. It tastes clear, but in winter, these rivers, they're quite clear.
It's weird colour water. Do we care?
I mean, I'm kind of intrigued, but if it's not hurting anybody, I guess it doesn't really matter. Is the sky blue?
The sky is blue, is clear, yeah.
Is it a reflection of any kind of...
Roll me an investigation check.
17.
It doesn't seem to be.
Okay.
It's not as if when water is kind of churned up
Right.
by the flow, it's sort of transparent and then becomes blue as it reaches the surface. It seems to be this just moving, solid mass of blue.
Water should not be that color.
The rivers here flow down from Mount Atria and into the lake. It's probably not a great sign, but I don't fancy following it back to Mount Atria either.
I does not want to go up there.
Cal, you know nature stuff. Like, what could have done this?
Roll me a nature check with advantage. You're a student of the woods and the natural world.
You know nature stuff.
You know nature stuff, baby.
16.
Not a clue.
I haven't a clue.
It's if you weren't staring at so much of it moving at once, you might wonder whether there was it was some kind of dye used in textiles that had been dumped in extraordinary quantities into the water.
But then it would taste weird.
It would taste weird.
It tastes fine.
I think we should investigate. Water should not be this color of blue.
Okay. Weird. Could I possibly cast slow on the river?
Really slow.
It shouldn't happen. You alter time around up to 6 creatures of your choice for a 60-foot cube within range. Each target must succeed in a wisdom saving throw or be affected by the spell for the duration.
Okay. Everything else is about AC and dex saves.
Yeah, the affected target speed is halved. On a turn, it can either use the action. Basically, it's like it's on a creature, but could I use it on a river?
I mean, no, but maybe.
Like all the salmon.
What
just
do you want to
start-
do? You just want to slow the flow of the river.
Yeah, I want to slow the flow of the river, and I want to walk into the center of the river because I feel like the river. I want to swim into the river, but I don't want it to be taken away by the.
So, so you want to actually just to clarify a point that Endelian made. The river actually flows north towards the base of the mountain from here. You want to slow the river down.
I want to slow the speed of the river, and then I would like to swim into the center of the river and investigate. Basically, I want to get a much better look.
You burn a third level spell, I'll allow it. I don't think that's not in any way how the spell is intended to be used, but it says slow, so let's try.
Why not? Let's have.
This is not a precedent.
Pardon?
I'm not establishing a precedent.
No.
Sure.
I'm burning a third level spell.
To swim.
To go for a swim.
Okay, so I cast slow on the river, and it creates this. Let's say it creates almost like a sphere that almost slows the water as it flows through it. Is that
like a cube, a 40-foot cube.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Radiant then kind of like swims out into the center, into the middle.
It's almost like you've created a tiny lock.
Yeah.
Cal preps a 50-foot length of rope.
Good, I think
Would he slow as soon as he enters the sphere?
he technically would, yes.
Sorry, the cube.
Yes, so your speed is now halved as you enter the cube, as is all the fish. You have a -2 penalty, your AC and dexterity saving throws. You can't use a reaction. You can either use an action or a bonus action, not both. and you can't make more than one melee or ranged attack.
You look like you've made yourself very vulnerable down there.
Traveling with idiots.
What are you saying? I'd like to investigate.
See what? Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Thank
See if
you.
you can shrug the effects off.
Fuck yeah, it's a 19.
Yeah, you beat your own DC. Yeah.
It's fine in here, guys.
You see, like we're all like sat on the bridge with our legs dangling over, just watching him. Like, what the hell is he doing?
Hey, can you do that trick where you make the...
Yes. And you want to raise some? Do you want, or what do you? How would you
Just make some of it clear for me.
Okay, cool. It's a 5 foot. So whereabouts are you in the?
So he's in the water, so I would say you're in the middle of the river, and the only place that you can make a 5-foot cube would be where you are, but it wouldn't take you all the way down to the river bed, because the river's deeper than that.
Anyway, I want to investigate. I want to see what's inside this sphere. I want to kind of get him. I want to get like a feel for the water when I'm in there.
In that case, what I'm going to try and do instead then is, because I can have 2 active at any time, I'm going to divert the flow in a 5 radius, so it splits on either side of Radiant, and then freezes, so it almost creates a frozen ledge that Radiant can stand on inside it,
That's
diverting
really fun.
water around.
So you're 5 foot, essentially you're 5 foot deep in the river. Radiant is probably 6 foot tall, 6.5 feet maybe. He's quite a tall boy. So he is 1.5 feet out of the woods. Top 1.5 feet of Radiant is out of the woods. The rest of it is like he's down a manhole, and you're looking down at a frozen block of blue.
And I'd like to just kind of I'd like to investigate the water closely.
You can roll investigation with advantage, given how imaginative this is.
That's 16.
It's water. It's really, really, really blue water.
Guys,
Just sat on the fridge eating eggs.
it's blue water. Is there anything else you want to know about it? I said we should have walked on, but here we are.
And yet you got in the river.
You wanted it. You got it.
Did I?
I don't think any of us asked this
What an
Radiant.
incredible Jedi mind trick that is. Well, you all wanted me to do it.
Don't make me sing.
Radiant, get out of there before you get washed away. I'm not running down to the lake to fish you out for a second time.
Hey, fisherman, anything you want whilst I'm in the river?
Well, if there's a couple of salmon going.
Yeah, I can get them.
Is any part of him died at all from the blue?
No, it's not died from the blue. He just looks wet and almost in a sort of cartoonish sense. It's very odd. It's very hard to describe it. It's like he's covered in ink, but it still behaves in terms of its viscosity and the way it flows like water.
Okay.
How many fish you want?
As many as you can give me. Roll me a d6. Oh, you're rolling a d20. You ambitious little
19
boy.
fish.
2.
2, you get 2 more salmon. I mean, this fisherwoman, she is having the time of her damn life.
I love the idea of Radiant's now got these 2 fish and now has to swim back across with them without them, like...
Just grab onto them and get them.
It's also winter. Like, you're going to be vile to travel with. You're bad enough
worry.
if your feet get wet.
I've got these fish. How do can I try and because I
Throw them onto the,
throw
you
them?
can throw them onto the bank.
Hey, catch!
Roll me a dexterity. Just roll me dexterity plus a d20. You can't add your proficiency. You're not proficient in fish.
It's a nat 1.
It's a nat 1. You throw them straight back into the water downstream where the flow is faster.
Our legs are just, just dangling.
My God.
I need to be fair. I'd have got none of those without you. So I've still got my fish. And she's got this great big fish that I got for her.
So, guys, anything else?
No, should we just leave?
Can we reach a hand down to pull you up so you've got to go back through your own spell?
He can drop it.
He's got concentration lasts for a minute. So as you're starting to climb out, you've probably been down there for a good minute. There is a moment towards the very end where the full force of the river hits you as your body is out, but your legs are still in, and you actually get sort of swung up onto the bank through the sudden
It's like
acceleration.
being in a dungeon
of
and
water.
you can hear the time of a trap, the clock starts to get...
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to do then? I'm going to ask Radiant to stand on the top of the ice wall that I've just created, and I'm going to ask you very quickly, because I'm going to lose one effect out of the 2. I can keep that bit frozen, but I'll have to lose the shape. I'm going to raise and freeze another bit, and I'm going to do race freeze, freeze.
Amazing, like a platformer. Running along with everything dropping as you touch
As
it.
ice, this can only
Can I
go
roll?
well.
Can I roll an athletics check?
You can roll
for
me an
that?
acrobatics
Thank
check.
you.
It's a 13.
It's a 13. Roll me a d4.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Where is it? Where's my boy?
Gets ready to grab him.
It's a 1.
You take 1 point of cold damage as you just about make it out of the river.
God, it's cold there.
It's freezing. It's winter.
And then I'm going to, seeing his clothes. You were fully submerged at any point, or were you just...
Pretty. I mean, it was up to his neck.
Okay, well, as much as I can from base to there, shake water, suck all the water out of those clothes.
Your torso is dry. Your your pelvic area is dry. Your feet and shins are sodden.
He's going to be vile. Now he's got wet feet while we travel.
God. Insufferable.
Anything else you want to know about this water?
This has all been very fun, but there's still blue water.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem to be hurting the fish, doesn't seem to be hurting people who drink it against better judgment, so...
Because any
Or
judgment.
swim in it.
Or swim in it.
Says the dwarf.
But it is unnatural.
Yeah, well...
I'd wager there's been a fair few unnatural things that we've encountered recently. This one
This is
isn't really registering for me.
This is pretty much the most benign unnatural thing we've found for quite some time.
Well, it was lovely to meet you.
Absolutely fantastic.
Enjoy your fish.
Well, I think I might call it a day there, you know. And she takes her fish and just heads back over the bridge.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that was a huge waste of everyone's time.
You're welcome. So you want to cross over the bridge into Mab?
Squelch, squelch, squelch.
My feet are freezing.
Radian, be quiet.
Oh, I hate it.
Radian, be quiet. Radian, you're the one that wanted to get in the river.
I didn't want to get in the river. You wanted me to get in the river.
No one wanted you to
You
get in the river.
specifically said Radiant get in the river. I
No one
remember
said
it.
Radiant get in the river.
Everyone said Radiant get in the river. Help us out
I
with the
didn't say
water.
Radiant get in the
That's
river.
what you. And I got in the water.
As they carry on walking, I just, having not actually thought about it at all, just makes the water stay exactly where it is as he keeps walking, so he doesn't even notice. But the water just stays behind in boot form for a moment and then just disappears.
Amazing. And you head into the woods of Mab, and these woods are known as a site of ancient magic. And quite unlike the kind of oak forests of Distaw and the surrounding areas of Mouse, these are winter flowering trees. And there are bright berries on bushes, and every road seems to sort of snake through the natural angles created by these trees as they've grown over centuries. And you walk for an hour or so, and then can everyone roll me perception checks? Radiant.
11.
15.
And Delian.
11.
11.
For once.
19.
19.
Nat one.
Nat 1. Perfect. And Delian, you smell something on the air. And you smell it with real... It's like it suddenly appears. And you can trace it can track it as a scent. It's like so strong. It's herbs and perfume on the wind. It's sage and lavender, hyacinth and primrose.
Can you smell this?
Yeah, there's definitely something in the forest.
Dolly?
What? No, Dolly's clothes. Dolly's like
sorry.
mulled wine. This is more like...
What are we talking about?
You find this almost disorientating, Dolly. It's like it's almost like sensory overload. There's too much color. There's too much, like the blue of the river that you can't get out of your head, and then the brightness of the petals and the berries, and there's sounds and smells, and it's just...
Let's keep going. Let's keep walking. I don't like this.
It's just sort of starting to drift towards it, I think.
You like to follow the scent.
Yeah.
Okay. So this scent leads you on. Are you going with...
Hi, where are you going?
You does not smell this?
I don't smell anything.
And then it leads you down the road, down the path you were walking.
Can I relay the sense,
absolutely.
I relay the smells that I'm getting, and I'd say...
So everyone who failed can now roll with advantage as I starts to move towards it. You're getting further into that sort of cloud of scent as he's making you aware of it. Sage, lavender, hyacinth, and primrose.
I say to Canis,
Is this the right smells for the woods?
What did you get, Kelnis?
26. I just go.
Yeah. It's like breathing in almost... having tuned it out, it's almost like breathing in smelling salts. There's like at first it's pungent and then it kind of relaxes into
So
florals.
strong.
Radiant.
17.
17, you smell it, Dolly.
9.
9, still, like, you're getting something, and the rest of them seem to have it, so...
Dolly's starting to question if she does actually smell. And she
It's the perfect time to roll.
I'm really self-conscious.
So this scent leads you through these twisting roads as it turns through berry bushes and these winter flowering magnolia trees. And on a raised verge, you find a wagon made of hazelnut wood. And its side panels are covered in layers of overlapping gossamer fabric like wings of giant grasshoppers. And the wheels themselves are large and ornate spokes which are constructed from the same hazelnut wood as the cart. They're carved into jagged shapes that look like the legs of a spider. And as you follow that smell further, at the rear of the cart you see a figure sat at the top of a set of small steps. And their form's hard to make out. They're obscured by numerous overlapping veils, the colours of autumn leaves and spring flowers, though visible through those veils is a golden mask that covers their face. And protruding from this mask, presumably over the figure's mouth, is a long tube that tapers to a narrow point like the bill of a great bird or a proboscis of a blood-sucking insect. A silver circlet rings the figure's forehead, horns jutting out and curving away at odd angles all along its length. And the mask turns towards you, and from inside the veils you hear stories, travellers. The woods of Mab are the perfect place to lose or find yourself. Dolly, you know exactly what this is. Yeah. The rest of you, Kel and Endelian can roll me history checks. Radian and I roll them with disadvantage, please. Go ahead, Radian. It was our disadvantage people first.
17.
17.
4.
A 4.
17.
A 17.
13.
And a 13. Okay. What all of you, apart from I, would know straight away is that this is a member of an order called the Gracious. That's all you would know, Kelnis. Radian and Delian. Radian, you must have heard.
Elowen.
Radian and Elowen.
I don't mean to keep. I don't want to
please,
correct you.
you
but-
must. You must. Radian and Elowen, you must have heard these names mentioned. It's the sort of thing that Agatha would have told you about, Elowen, and something that must have come up in a tavern or on a mission in your time before you met your companions, Radian. And the Gracious are these mystics of Alakash, the tiefling god, and they train in temples called murmurs in the city of Vale. And they believe in the transformative quality of stories, and they spend their lives collecting and distributing and selling these stories alongside rumors and information. And they protect their identities under these veils because some of the things they know are so incendiary that should their identities be discovered, it would put them in danger. That's what you recognize, and then what you know, Dolly, is that this silver circlet marks this individual out as a docent of grace. And the ones that you might have encountered before are called Poets of Grace, and Poets of Grace are somewhere between a bard and a companion and You might have them in courts. You might go to slightly seedier areas of towns where these things that people call story holes will open up and someone will whisper a single story into your ear. And it's believed that for enough money, they can see almost anything. They can look into your past. They can tell you truths. They can tell you stories. They can place you at the center of heroic tales. All of it for a price.
I haven't seen a docent around here for a long time.
What is a docent?
Mystic of Alakash. They trade in stories. Sometimes, docents less so, but sometimes they trade in rumors too.
I know stories.
Yeah, well, stories hold a lot of power. More than the truth a lot of the time.
What does they want?
Maybe you're willing to tell them.
Could they be doing the river?
That doesn't really seem like their flavor, but...
As you're whispering to each other, this figure, masked, there's no need to be shy.
Hello?
Hello. And what's your name, little one?
It is I.
I.
It is I.
A fine name. And there's this strange quality that they have, this slightly sort of sonorous voice that doesn't, but because it's not accompanied by any facial expression, it's almost impossible to read. Roll me an insight check.
9.
9. It's not unfriendly. It could almost be welcoming. You know the power of stories. Kobolds have an oral storytelling tradition. They never wrote anything down, and so stories make sense to you. The idea of trading and selling them is maybe a little odd, but it's far less odd than writing them down in a book.
And this is tribe.
Well, what an unusual set of travelers.
We're in very unusual times.
We are indeed, if the whispers are to be believed.
Whispers have come through here recently.
And she raises a hand, and you see that the hand is pale green, long fingernails, rings adorning every finger. And you hear her say, those require coin, don't they? You would know that better than any of this tribe you travel with.
How much coin do you require?
It depends what it is you want to know.
What do you want to know?
What can they tell us?
You have to be careful with these guys sometimes because you never see their faces. There's room for believers and there's room for people who would take advantage of that. But true, gracious can be very useful.
So you would be able to explain to them as well that the cheapest thing they do, which would only cost coppers, is they just whisper a single line of a story into your ear. From silver, you could be told a longer story. For gold, you could be placed into that story and made to feel like a hero. And for a substantial amount of gold, they will sort of search their sort of mystic potential and find a truth about you, or perhaps a truth about someone else. But as Dolly explains to you, anyone can claim to be one.
Is there a way of knowing these?
Nope. Not that I know of.
Roll me an investigation check, Dolly, with advantage.
14.
This one looks as expected. Sometimes when you're dealing with poets of grace, who are the junior members. They can be a bit ramshackle. Sometimes it's quite easy to spot someone a mile off. Their veils are the wrong colours, or they're not wearing enough and you can still make out the features of the face, which is a mistake that a poet would never make. This looks to be a docent, and there aren't that many of them.
Has they been friendly to you?
You know, I haven't actually encountered that many, but they're well known in tiefling circles.
What does you think?
What do we want to know?
Give it a try. Why not? You don't see many of them around.
All right. I guess.
Tell us the truth.
A truth for whom?
Me.
She extends a hand to you,
It's around it.
and she draws you up the set of steps and into her wagon. And as you enter this wagon, spears of you're preparing a crossbow.
I'm just
There are these spears of colour inside the car. As a light pierces through this gossamer, through small holes in the side of the wagon that were invisible before you were inside. It's hard to see anything. It's like a mass of almost beams of coloured light that disorientate you. Have you been in one of these before?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. She tells you to sit. And she places herself behind this screen door and pulls it across. As she pulls it across, there's a grill. And out of the strange light and colour, you see this mask emerge. And you hear a whisper. You hear her say, "Turn your head."
She does.
And the mask is in your ear. And it's like her breath is suddenly inside you, inside your head. And the wagon smells of rose petals. And she says, "You search for something, for someone. He lives." And then you, almost as if her head is moving as she's trying to tune into this truth, you feel almost this ticklish sensation as the mask twists in your ear. The four forests. The four forests are the mother, the wise, the child, and the sister forests in the far southeast of the continent. Not far from where you were.
He's there?
For now.
For how long?
This I cannot say.
Is he sorry?
The screen door opens ever so slightly, and a little stick emerges and taps the side of a golden empty bowl. It chimes like a bell. Ding, 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 ding.
Putting some coin in it?
How much coin are you putting in? You would know that truths cost gold, cost 3-figure gold.
I don't have that kind of gold on me.
You will still pay for this.
Yeah. We'll take care of that.
And then the mask is removed from your ear. And the screen door pulled back. She extends her hand to you again. Come along.
Yeah. Take your hand.
It is all always better to know.
Most of that I already knew anyway.
She leads you down the steps. And you see Dolly emerge from the wagon.
So did you find out why the water was blue?
No. Funnily enough, that didn't occur to me to ask.
That wasn't the thing you asked.
No,
Then
why
did
do
you go in
you care?
there?
Why do you still care about
Oh
the water?
my god, you wasted our gold on some other things. Why is the water blue? I got wet for it.
Dolly, do you want me to pick up the bill?
If that's all right.
It's okay.
Thank you.
What did you ask?
I'm looking for someone. I have a better lead on where they are, but it's not in the direction that we're headed right now.
Who are you looking for?
I know we're all trying this new truthfulness thing, and I get that. This is just something I'm not really ready to talk about just yet.
No judgment from me on that one.
Thanks.
I guess I'll hand over whatever it is I need to hand over.
It's 200 gold.
Wait, what? Where'd you get that money?
You know what, Radiant? Don't worry about it.
You has truths you needs to know.
Okay, I'm not made of money.
We don't need to know everything right now.
You afraid?
We don't have the money.
I mean, maybe I have a bit more money.
You has the money.
Are you afraid?
I'm not afraid of anything.
I don't know, you sound a little afraid.
You want me to go to the wagon with the weirdo?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I have things I would like to know.
Okay, I'm really not made of money.
She reaches a hand out to you, Radiant. Will not hurt.
It doesn't hurt. I mean, not in a physical sense.
Depends what you get told.
Does it tickle?
It does actually tickle.
Right, I'll get in the wagon.
And she brings you in, Radiant. Spears of colour. She sits you down. A truth for you.
Yeah, fine. Rummaging around there.
Harry's having a Haribo stop.
What?
I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. We have...
So we have a little dice tower that I've been waiting to use for a significant roll.
Oh.
Radiant.
This is the best 200 gold we've ever spent. 400 gold.
600?
No.
This one could be more. Radiant. She pulls the screen door. You see this mask emerge. Turn your head.
Okay.
And the mask, the tip of it, nestles in your ear. I'd like you to roll me a d6 in here.
Stop. This is so scary when you do that. Take all the cameras out with you.
Don't look behind the screen.
Oh, it's so cool.
So there's a set of steps inside us, a couple of skulls. What is it?
I don't know, I can't see.
A 2.
Okay.
Okay. There's your die.
God, it's cool.
Wow.
Oh my God.
She says, "What? What?" And you feel the beak twisting in your ear. No, no. I see a face. Yours and another's. Golden skin. You look as if you are kin. holds a bag, and you have this sudden flash of vision. And you can see this. You see a male face staring into yours, golden skinned, angular, and holding the deck of many friends bag. His hands are trembling. And his eyes go back to yours. He has this expression of horror. He says, "It will come for you, Astalis. Why? Why must you act on every impulse? Do you care about anything but yourself?" And then you're out the vision.
Make it stop.
It is better to know.
Make it stop.
As you wish. And the mask removes itself from your ear.
Are we done?
You hear a little tap, chiming of a bell, and you look down and see a golden bowl.
Yeah, she'll pay for it.
And you see Radiant emerge from the wagon.
Well, why is it blue then?
Why is the water blue?
She said that's just the colour of the river. I asked her.
That can't be right.
No, I don't know. She was being really cryptic. She said something about blue, something about, I don't know, whatever. It's pointless.
Radiant's being radiant. Let's just pay for it and get out of here. The sage is giving me a headache anyway.
She says 300 for this.
Fine.
I don't know how much that is. This is a lot.
It's a lot. It's an awful lot of money.
Well, then the river being blue must be important.
She looks at the five of you and says, "Fare you well on the road. You've spent good coin here." She takes a deep breath in. She goes to each of you in turn. And she whispers a single line. First, she goes to Endelian. "He preferred the scent of silver to the taste of bone." Then he goes to Dolly. Then she goes to Dolly. "The harder she swam for the surface, the further away it seemed." Then she goes to I. "They tried to scream, but the stitches held it closed." She goes to Radiant, goes to put the mask in her ear. Do you let her?
Yeah.
From far away, he heard his own voice calling out that he was lost. And then she goes to Calnis. And the rest of you see her twitch as if struck by something suddenly. And through the smell of rose petals, you hear, "The murk is thick. The briar will hold." And that's where we'll end our session. Thanks everyone for being here. Episode 14 of our adventures in the world of Reliquiae. My players have loved it. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to hear us chat about everything that's happened, you can tune into our post show next week, which is called Action Surge. But if, however, you can't wait that long, and frankly, you're only human, or though you might be an elf or a dwarf or a tiefling, anything's possible in this world, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/natural6, which will allow you to go and listen to the Action Surge
Right now.
Right now.
Plus a load of extra fun stuff. Ben wrote a story that I have to make slightly canonical within the world. I do some blogs. Elowin's Diary.
No, I don't know what we're gonna. I don't know what we're gonna do with that. We'll talk about it on
Ellie's Diary.
We'll talk about it on Action Surge, I'm sure.
But until then, thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and we will see you very soon for more adventures in the world of Reliquiae. Bye, everybody.